Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen, back with another edition of Birds 365 for you. J Mac, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother?
Yeah, gearing up for the LA Rams. A lot of things I think are going to become clearer after this game. Chance to get some positive steps going for the offense and a chance for the defense to kind of validate what they've looked like the first two games.
Yeah, going to be a good one, John. It's going to be a good test. Going to be a tough opponent. It is in Philly. This is obviously the team. There was that controversial playoff game last year, which could have went many different ways. The Snow Bowl. So I'm looking forward to this one. This should be a good one, and as you said, will be a good litmus test for where they are through the first couple weeks of the year. But I do caution myself after what happened last year on these first 4 or 5 games until we learn a little more. I don't want to make a grandiose proclamation one way or the other, but I do think this one's going to be a good test against a good matchup and a good team.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, and I think one of the things is, you could play a little bit conservatively from obviously offense is what everybody's worried about right now. You can afford to play a little bit more conservatively with Kansas City in the position they were in. And you probably can't do that this week. So, it'll force you to play a different way, essentially. And I think that alone will fix a lot of the perceived problems. I believe that. So, at the end of last week, it was Tyquan Thornton and I don't even know who the other guy, Nico, whatever his name was. I literally never heard of him, and this is what I do all day, and I never heard of the guy. That's what you were dealing with. This week you're dealing with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. So you're going to have to play a little bit differently, and I think the Eagles know that. The Eagles understand that. The Eagles will, and I think it'll look better. I really do. They were trying to get out with a win. One thing this team deserves credit for is they just they're hyper focused on getting out with a win by hook or by crook. And essentially their mentality proved to be true. Don't turn it over and you're going to beat that team. And that's what happened.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a lot of their perspective. Johnny Mac, we'll dive into more of that, obviously, as the week progresses here. It's Wednesday, so kind of that day you start to really turn that page and lock in on week number 3. For the Eagles, we'll have Mike Gill and Brandon Lee Gatwin today, our usual Wednesday guests. So looking forward to talking to both of those guys. John, yesterday we had coordinator day. Vic Fangio always gives some good comments, John. So we'll talk about those right now. But I'll come right to you, and you can tell me what you enjoyed the most. I know everybody listens to Vic and gets something different. Not something different, but people like different parts of what Vic says. What stuck out to you yesterday?
Well, I love it. Typically with me, it's the lesser stuff, but I know everybody's interested in the big players and all, but I think he highlighted the lack of common sense with the NFL, and that's with the training camp acclimation period. Oh, you can't hit the ground running. God forbid, but if you're Zadarius Smith, you can come in off the street and play right away. Even brought up Chance Campbell getting a shout out. He's like, he shows up later in camp. He's allowed to play right away. So just the absolute hypocrisy of the NFL. And, I think people understand why they do it. Maybe they don't. And it's basically, as the kids would call it, virtue signaling, I guess. It's all for show. Everything they do is for show. Oh, look at what we're doing. It's all for show. So I hope people realize the hypocrisy of the whole thing. And I could even spin that towards the tush push, but I don't want to talk about that nonsense. He also blew up that, which I've been doing. And thank you, Vic, by the way, if you're listening. Blew up the idea of halftime adjustments. Most overrated thing in football. Absolute myth. Absolute freaking myth. Should have been. It's been blown up numerous times in the past. There's a famous clip that everybody always puts up of Peyton Manning when he was asked about halftime adjustments, and he said, "Yeah, I basically eat a couple oranges and go to the bathroom." That's what
Right.
you're adjusting from. Well, the good coaches like Vic and the good players like Peyton, you're adjusting from basically play one. And if you're not, and if you're waiting for halftime, you're screwed. So I enjoyed that. And then he throws in the weekly, I call it the Easter egg of we don't practice enough, basically, when he's talking about Jalen Carter's conditioning, which I mentioned is a problem, people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thanks again, Vic, for pointing that out. But yeah.
Yeah, the
So
halftime thing is funny though, because ever since we started doing our halftime show, which has now been several years, but I really realized how fast halftime is because I'm on the air and I look up and I look back and I'm like, oh shit, the game started. There's no way that they're making that much, obviously, as Vic pointed to. But
yeah. Well, and Vic is joking. He's up top. He calls the game from the booth. So it takes him 3 minutes to get down and 3 minutes to get back up. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of stuff is I kind of chuckle when I hear it. Well, they got to make halftime adjustments.
It is nice to have a coordinator like Vic in Philly, though, who gives us that type of those type of press conferences as compared to the alternative. John, what do you make of that Carter stuff? I know you mentioned it, but the one part I struggle with this, and people aren't going to like it, but I don't really care. I don't get how you show up out of shape. Like, you have a contract waiting for you after this year. You've done everything to get already and within arm's length of getting one of the biggest defensive contracts in football right now. Like, how are you not in shape in camp? I don't get that. It's not, that's something you can control. I don't know. Is it because they try and keep waiting on, like, am I missing something? Is it not as clear cut as it seems to me? I mean, I'd show up. Yesterday, I joked I'd show up looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger if there was $150 million bag of money waiting for me. I don't really get that part. I'm not going to lie to you. It really bothers me.
Well, you're a lot closer to me than to me for the obvious answer, and that's he's 23 or 24, whatever he is now, 24, I think. He's very young. We've said it. He's a little bit immature. Things come easily for him. That's another part of it.
Yeah,
like the
true.
game's very easy for him compared to other people. A lot of things factor into that. But yeah, those are the most notable. And there's everybody matures at different levels. Some people never mature. I've met people my age who aren't mature.
Yeah.
Some people would say I'm not mature, but little bit different stages in life. But yeah, I mean, and then there's others who just are workout warriors and are always in shape. And everybody can revert that to their normal life. I mean, some people just gravitate towards it and it's part of their lifestyle, and other people it's a grind and they have to do it and they have to be really disciplined. I mean, to me, it's pretty easy to figure out that kind of stuff. I mean, but the bigger part, and I've talked about this with great players coaching as well. I mean, I think they have a little bit tougher time coaching because the human nature aspect of it was easy for them. And you have to understand it's not as easy for everybody else. And I think things come easily for Jalen Carter. So he's probably not going to have, that top tier. Oh, I got to be in the best shape as well. Some people do.
I'm not worried about it. I think he's going to be fine. I'm just saying.
Aaron Donald did both. That's when you have the specialness.
That's what I mean. That's what I want for Jalen.
You can't just say have that mentality.
Yeah, right. Not everybody. That's rare for a reason.
Yeah. So
how much did the shoulder injury you think have to do with it in the offseason?
Yeah, Vic mentioned, I'm sure, he brought it up, the first week he was dealing with something. So that factors into it as well. But, something to keep an eye on, as I mentioned weeks ago. And because I I didn't sense he was coming because everybody had sensed he's coming in. He's going to have this monster year. I didn't sense that coming into the season. And I said, so, pump the brakes on he's going to have the biggest contract of all time. He's going to have a huge contract, but
Right.
You got to deliver at first team all pro level to be at to be the cheers jumping. And he might get it might click in because he is more talented than everybody else. But we've already seen, the bigger issue with maturity as well, spitting on someone. All right, if you're 2 games in, you better start picking it up if you want that contract.
Yeah, right. No doubt about it, John. Good stuff there. What'd you make of Kevin Patullo yesterday? Good comments from Vic. We'll move on to Kevin Patullo now. A lot of pressure already, John, on Kevin Patullo in Philly. The OC is a pressure cooker, John, in Philadelphia to be the offensive coordinator here. You either get promoted or you get fired. That's at least how it seems right now. I'm not saying that's what's going to be the fate of Kevin Patullo, but we will see if it is. John, what'd you make of Kevin Patullo's commentary yesterday?
I think it's typical. I think Kevin is, I've said it. He's very good in front of the microphone. Normally if you have this kind of stretch, you saw it with Kellen Moore, you just shut down. He was kind of the exact opposite. He's trying to engage everybody. He's trying to explain, what's going on. I think for Kevin, I think it's almost, and this is counterintuitive, but it's almost like you want the Rams to score some points to prove you can score some points. But, you don't want that because you want to win the game. And if you win the game ugly, you win the game ugly. But for him to show his wares, you almost have to be in a game where you have to score some points. And I think when that happens, and it's going to happen at some point, I can't tell you when. I think it's going to happen this week. I think the Eagles will look a lot different, to be perfectly honest. But until you see it, I think the personality of the game is going to fix a lot of problems if they're forced to score some points.
Well, I think they're going to be this week.
And I think you're going to see a different offense if they have to score some points.
And you're pretty confident they're gonna move the ball well, effectively.
Yeah, they got better players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. But until you see it, it's pretty ugly because it's a pretty simple offense, and it has been. It's never going to be what people want it to be, the high-flying motion. They're scheming guys open. It's never going to be that offense. It's never been Ben Johnson. It's never going to be that offense. Not as currently constructed. So you need to be in a game where you have to score to prove that you can score. Otherwise, they're going to be in that shell of, okay, we're not going to turn the ball over, so just dump it down, no passes downfield, don't turn it over and win the game, rinse and repeat.
The interesting thing about the offense with that is, I was listening back on, not to be a psycho, but I was listening back to our own content on the training camp, John. And this is basically what you were saying the offense was every day.
Yeah.
Like you were like, there's nothing downfield. That's a lot of underneath stuff. Nothing big and explosive, not passing the ball, deep. The ball doesn't hit the ground, but they also don't throw the ball that deep. So I'm like, this is almost like what they practiced,
Yeah, they practice that. They practice being conservative and not turning the ball over. There's a reason that number is what it is.
Yeah, right.
But there will be games where teams are more equipped to do things offensively. And in those games, I think then you start to rely on your playmakers, and they generally make plays. So I think the same thing's going to happen this year.
John, where do you think the biggest mismatch in this game coming up is? I know they got Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams are obviously the three that stick out. Right? They also have a really good defensive line. and they have Sean McVay, who's is one of the better offensive
Vic owns
minds.
Sean McVay, so I
Yeah,
wouldn't
he
worry
does.
about Sean McVay. But
But he's still over there. So I mean, you got Nakua and Adams. I mean, what do how does that matchup look? What's a better fit or what's a better matchup for Quinyon Mitchell? And who would you rather have left on Adoree Jackson and company?
well, you can't. You almost have to do it if you want to do it with Adams because Puka moves around so much.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to travel this week. I mean,
No.
this is the biggest
Yeah.
motion team in the history of the world. No, probably not. I mean, there's other teams, but I mean, and Puka will release in the B gap at times. So, yeah, they're not traveling corners this week. I'm very confident in saying
You want to
that.
tell Jalen Carter to be mean. Tell him be mean when Puka Nakua comes
Yeah.
through the B gap. That's when you stick a
Yeah.
shoulder
Well,
out and
if you notice him and he's coming by, yeah, you should stick a shoulder in there.
Yeah.
But he's so physical, it it hasn't been a problem for him. Very unique receiver. Good friend of Britton Covey as well, by the way. But yeah, this is not the week for traveling. You can that talk this week.
No, not happening.
No, Christian
Puka
Parker's
and him, wait, you said he's good buddies with he's
Britton
Utah.
Covey.
He's a BYU guy. They're
Yeah.
Mormons, right? Yeah, so they're both
Yeah,
Mormons.
well,
Okay, yeah.
Puka used to live with the Covey family.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how
Man,
close they were.
man, that's a little deeper than just that. Then that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they work out together in the off season. Burton was out there; they were teammates this summer before he came back. So yeah, they're very close. But yeah, this is not the week. Yeah, they move all over the place. Now, as I pointed out, like Vic, all the way back to when they made their first Super Bowl and lost, it goes back. Vic was in Chicago, completely shut down. The Rams were the best team in football that year, looked like it. And then he went to Chicago late in the season, got completely shut down. That's where Vic rolled out his 6-man fronts, completely shut down the running game, and Belichick copied it to a T in the Super Bowl. And they couldn't do it again. They couldn't do anything with it. Now, they played last year and they almost beat the Eagles. So, yeah, everybody's made adjustments since then. And the one thing about Matthew Stafford, man, everybody loves that guy.
Yeah.
Everybody in this league loves that guy.
He can swing it,
Amazing player. You heard Vic talk about him. Amazing arm talent. But he's getting older, Not what he was.
Is he 40? He's almost 40 probably?
No, he's younger than that. He's
37?
30, 37. But, he's taken he's played a long time. He got in the league when he was very young. Very young. So, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 17 years, and he's only 37.
Yeah, that's
like he has seen it all, done it all. Bad team. I had this argument with Jody for years. He's like, "Hey, he stinks." I'm like, I was on with Jody. I can say that because Jody and I are friends, but I'm like, this dude is phenomenal. He had an awful supporting cast, and then he got to the Rams and he won the Super Bowl. It's like everybody woke up. Everybody in the league knew, but everybody woke up.
Yeah, right. Matthew Stafford coming in this week. Jeremy Govan, John, they got 2 good receivers. I like the addition of Devontae Adams for them. So they got 2 good receivers. The other thing I like, John, real quick, and we're going to get to Mike Gill here in just a second on Birds 365. That defensive line, they have a good defensive line over there in LA. Jared Verse, I think, is off to a quick start already for year 2. So that's going to be a good battle because the offensive line in Philly has not looked like we're used to it looking through the first 2 weeks. That doesn't mean they won't improve or get better. I know they have some injuries they're dealing with, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on in this matchup, at least in my opinion.
Well, if you're, the Rams got to prove they can stop the run. I mean, they gave up 4 60 yards or more touchdowns, I think, last year against the Eagles. And to me, Nathan Landman might be the most important player in this game. and he's the replacement for Christian Roseboom, who needed to be replaced.
Yeah, right.
And you know, he's not exactly Ray Lewis either, Nate Landman. But I mean, they have to stop the run. They just could not stop the run. And they did get up front as well. They got Puna Ford, so that'll help. But if you get to that second level against the Rams, you're gonna make some hay.
Yep. No doubt about it. Good stuff there, Johnny Mac. Good opening segment. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here this morning on Birds 365. A good show here. And we got Mike Gill coming up next here on Birds 365. He joins us right now on the show. You can follow him at Mike Gill Show. Listen to him on 97.3 ESPN down the shore, 97.5 The Fanatic in Philly on the weekends, and subscribe to his YouTube channel at Mike Gill Show. Mike, welcome to the program, brother. How you doing on this Wednesday morning?
Late night Phillies, man.
Yeah, man. Game's starting at 10 p.m., Mike. I can't make it, dude. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, you missed a good one last night.
I know. That's what I heard. I read about it a little bit this morning when I woke. Apparently, it was a really good one.
It was worth it, but oh man.
Yeah, those West Coast games. That's the second Monday night game. I couldn't make it to the end. I hate those staggered Monday night games. Boy, West Coast stuff is tough.
They're not doing them anymore. The rest of them, I think, are all like 7:30.
Yeah,
like something like, or like 7:38, like that. They're all going to be in at the same time.
Well, Red October takes some pressure off the Eagles a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be working for Kevin Petula, who's already enemy number one of the fan base. I would argue, Mike, because the Eagles offense looks like the Eagles offense. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen this before. What are your immediate thoughts when you hear about the angst over Kevin Petullo and this offense?
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, obviously the offense hasn't looked great, but I feel like we've been having the same conversation for the last couple of years with this offense. You're wondering, with all the talent that they have, why, when you hear A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, this offensive line, it always comes back to they should score 35 points a game. Like, just roll out of bed, and with that group of players, you should be able to score whenever you feel like it, and that just hasn't been the case. They just have had issues being fluid and consistent. There's never a fluidity to this offense. It's always clunky, and you're scratching and clawing out wins. And then the big thing has always been, they do it when it counts. Third down, they've been good. They make plays, and that's the one thing that's a little perplexing. Is that okay? They won the Super Bowl. So should you complain about it now? Is it because it's a different guy calling it? Should that make you the offense lacks an explosion? And is that it's almost like the Jalen Hurts thing. When he's in these lists, he's never one of the top 5 because the numbers don't really look like he's a top 5 player, but he finds ways to win. The Eagles offense doesn't have the explosion that you want. So do you want the quarterback with 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns when he loses? Or do you want the other guy? Do you want the Eagles offense to be this explosive offense that's in a shootout possibly? Or is this okay? I mean, in the end, winning is all that matters. So if you want to complain about the aesthetics of the offense, you certainly have a point. It's not a fun offense to watch at times.
Yeah, but are they Mike, I agree. And it's a tough thing to gauge, but I think we all agree they're capable of more. And in a perfect world, you want it to look like it did in the last 2 games of the year last year, right? And now it's not going to every week. I understand that. But I think that's this kind of ghost that they're chasing that I think fans are expecting them to be. You have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You got Saquon Barkley, a great offensive line. You got all these weapons. And I think that's what kind of people desire. And I don't know, it just feels like, as you said, we got to scratch and claw for every yard, every point right now. And it just feels like we got too much power for that to be the case. Now, it is early. We got time. But I do think it's fair to look at it like that.
I think ultimately it goes back to this offense is catered to what Hurts does well. They have simplified it to fit his abilities. And this goes back to the arguments of, well, he's not a top 5 quarterback. Well, he won the Super Bowl. How is he not a top 5 quarterback? Well, this is why, because this is the offense that he does well in. So there's like a chicken and the egg aspect here of, why don't they do more? Well, that's not what he does well. Well, then why isn't he one of the better quarterbacks in the league? But he won the Super Bowl. Like, that's why he and this offense are so polarizing, because a lot of it is catered to what he does well. And a lot of the things that he does well is simplified. And he does well on, making these third down plays. And then they get third and short. And then they run the tush push. And it's like, that's not a very aesthetically pleasing play, obviously. So a lot of this offense over the years with all the different coordinators is all catered to him and what he does well.
Yeah,
he throws the deep ball. He throws the deep ball well.
Yeah,
so they get into these situations where he has to bail himself out. So he chucks one down the field and they connect on it. So it is very frustrating if you want to sit and watch a game where they're going to score 35 points a game. And you're right, though. If you put this offensive personnel with most quarterbacks in this league, in most offensive systems, they're going to score 35 points a game with this group of guys. I would be pretty surprised if they didn't on a weekly basis.
Seen it with Jalen too, like I've seen it with Jalen.
Personality of game. You'll see it again when they need to score. When they
I asked the question, and I'm half like, you're half kidding at the time, but you're almost like, do the Eagles look at Kansas City and say, this team can't score on us, they can't beat us, so we're not going to show we're not going to show anybody anything either. So we're not going to show the Rams, and we're not going to show Tampa Bay.
Well, I don't think it's about not showing. I don't think it's about that. But yes, they came into that game with the mentality of, if we don't turn this football over, we're winning this game. That's it. So they got very conservative and they scale it back. Now, normally this week, like I said, you have Puka Nacua and you have Devontae Adams, etc., Tyler Higbee, instead of what Kansas City was throwing out there, which was Tyquan Thornton and Nico, whatever his name is.
Poor Tyquan Thornton, man. He's got.
Well, he's the best. He was the wide receiver 1 at the end. He was the best wide receiver they had. That is going to be and I said this on Mike's show, that is going to be the worst wide receiver group the Eagles face this year, unless there's incredible injuries across the board later in the season against everybody. Literally the worst. That's the position. And that's the reason Kansas City's not typically that bad.
It's also the reason. It's also the reason that Vic Fangio dials up 11 blitzes, because he didn't think any of those receivers could get behind you and do anything. Yeah, I mean, but the whole concept of their offense is just this, like, these simple concepts, and they if they have to open it up, they will. I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl. They scored 44 points. They did it throughout runs in the past where they've the Steeler game last year, I guess. Is that what you all wanted to see? I mean, like, it's almost as if like they know they can do it if they have to, but why do it every single week if I don't have to show it to you?
And I think the answer to that would be the ball security part of it. Well, yeah, you can throw it around, but the more you throw it around, the more susceptible you are to a Travis Kelce play. Bounce ball going the other way. Yeah. That's just the nature of the passing game.
The difference is you don't have Thornton as your top target.
Well, right? That's true.
You've got guys,
and that's why I think it's almost in a counterintuitive way. I said it's almost if you're Kevin Patullo and you're by yourself and you're in your dark thoughts, you're probably, boy, I hope they score a little bit so it can show something that we can score. Because that's the only way it's going to happen, and I think it will happen, and I think it happened. But to your point about the top 10 list and all that bullshit, which people put too much emphasis on, I'm like, if you don't like one list, go to the next list. But the more reputable ones, and I would say Mike Sando, the tier, speaking to executives, speaking to coaches, Jeremy Fowler as well, Those are the two most reputable. And Jalen's like 8 or 9 or wherever he landed on those particular lists. To me, it's the simplest, and I probably talked to you. I've certainly talked to Zander about it. It's the simplest explanation ever. If you're the freaking Jacksonville Jaguars, or I've been picking on them lately, or another crap, the Carolina Panthers. I'll ship to the Carolina Panthers. Would you rather have insert name, Matthew Stafford, or would you rather have Jalen Hurts? To me, it's the simplest answer ever. Well, I can't play like the Eagles, so I'm going to take Matthew Stafford to try to win 7 games. That, to me, it's simple.
Right.
Like the Eagles built, to your point.
See, I thought you were walking me down a road to say that you would take Jalen Hurts, and I was going to say I think most people would take the other guy because they deem that guy can.
I'm talking about
throw them to
executives
victory.
from an executive mindset, from a coaching mindset. I can't play that way.
Yeah, it's way harder to win to build the right roster needed to play their style.
Then it ends up making your margin of error to be so small to win the game. I mean, if Kelsey catches that pass, we're having a possibly completely different conversation. I mean, Kansas City is just so inept offensively, which is crazy to say. This is a team that's been to the Super Bowl 3 straight years, and they have some of the main components of those Super Bowl teams, and yet you're watching them, and you're just like, I don't feel there's any way this team can beat us. Like it was almost sad watching them.
And Mike, and to your exact point there, this is why I think, me included, and maybe many other, I don't want to speak for anybody but myself, but desires that, we've seen it in the Super Bowl. We saw it in the NFC Championship game. We saw it versus Pittsburgh last year. Why not impose your will and beat teams to a pulp and get your high power? Like, why let other teams, and John, to your point, the personality of the game dictate the way you play? Bullshit. We got AJ, Devontae, Dallas Goedert, Saquon, the offensive line. You dictate the narrative. You dictate. Why? I don't get why they don't try and play that way, because, Mike, as you say, that would increase your margin for error. You'd be beating teams you'd be beating teams bad if you were playing like that every week. Well, now, I know it's hard. I know it's a perfect world to assume they could do that, but I do think that should be the North Star. That should be the goal.
The game that stands out is the Washington game. They scored 55 points in that game against Washington and barely threw the ball anywhere. I mean, they just absolutely everything was just short, quick, between the numbers. They had, a Saquon run here, and that's kind of what it is. But I don't doubt at all that if they had, I don't know, you put Ben Johnson in here to let him run his offense with the Eagles, and they're scoring 38 points a game with this team. So it is a wild concept that we're having this discussion with a team that we know is really good, that's 2-0, and then the coordinator's getting just lambasted yesterday with questions about the lack of explosion in the offense.
Well, they have been. I mean, the only two statistics the Eagles care about, I talk about all the time. They call it the double positive, the turnover ratio and the explosive play battle. And they've won the turnover ratio, lost the explosive play battle. When you win them both, you win like 95% of the game. It's astonishing how many games you win. And that's their goal. The problem, a lot of problem. They got so many explosive plays from to your point at the Washington game. They got so many explosive plays from the running game last year, but obviously, common sense. It's much more difficult to get an explosive play from a running game in a normal situation than the passing game. So,
and everything is simple, and then when we have to take a shot down the field, it's all predicated. Because you remember a couple of years ago when Hurts was having these turnover problems, he kept turning the ball over.
Well, last year at the first 4 games, that's the reason they scaled it back.
Right. There was this streak of games where he just kept turning the ball over. So now they've scaled it back so much so that you're just not going to turn the ball over, and then we'll let you throw the ball down the field every once in a while because we'll surprise the team when you actually do throw the ball down the field. And then we have the element of this big home run hitting back. The only offense that seemingly was a little bit more challenging for defenses when Steichen was here. They had a lot heavier RPO. That RPO is kind of dissipated for the most part because Hurts just doesn't run really. And now he's getting asked about how come there's no designed runs for the quarterback, because that part of the offense seemingly is not here. So at that stage in 2022, it really catches some teams by surprise a little bit. And now here we are a couple of years later. They've seen that. They've kind of defended that a little bit better. And, okay, now we're going back to the safety, squeeze, it looks like.
Yeah, and well, I think, and this is where Vic is a positive as well for people like me, because we can say it and nobody listens to us. But when he says it, people gravitate towards it. One of the other things he said yesterday was because he doesn't blitz, and all of a sudden he's blitzing for him all over the place, not like Steve Spagnuolo, but. And he pointed out, and which I pointed out many times over the years, Mike, and Jonathan Gadden used to point this out as well when he was criticized for not blitzing. They're always in. In other words, they're always in the game plan. They're there. They're there.
What did he get asked yesterday? What do you have? Were some of those blitzes in the, like in your back pocket from last year's Super Bowl you just didn't use? Like
he said they were in for the Super Bowl. He didn't need them.
Yeah, I didn't need them.
If you get pass rush with 4 like you did in the Super Bowl and you're blitzing, you're a moron. Vic Fangio is not a moron when it comes to defensive football. The point he was trying to make is they're always in if you need them. And Jonathan Gannon would say the same thing. Nobody.
The other best part of Vic yesterday, and then Peyton Manning on the Manning cast the other night. Peyton Manning's like, I don't think I made an offensive adjustment in 18 years. It's the most overrated thing that I've ever heard. He's like, I'm eating oranges at halftime. There's no halftime adjustments being made here.
Yeah.
But Vic also saying, it takes me time just to get down off the elevator, and then I got to get back up the elevator.
It's the biggest myth in football. It is halftime adjustments. I also brought that up at the beginning of the show because when Vic says it, people will listen.
Right.
It just you're making adjustments from the first series to the second series. If you're not,
through every series, when you're not calling plays and the offense has the ball, you are now going through what can we do to kind of change things if we have to. And we saw it in the first week of the season. They had to make changes and adjustments on the fly because Jalen Carter got booted from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic is as far as I'm concerned, he's a national treasure, and we should protect him at all costs because he tells the truth. Mainly, he didn't tell the truth at the end when it came to starters and things like that. He was cut off by the Eagles.
They got to him. They got to him finally.
He generally tells the truth, and he had a big shot of sodium pentothal. What is it? Truth serum. Before yesterday's press conference, so it was interesting. But to Kevin's standpoint, the offense, just to wrap it up, like, and Zander saying they should impose their will. Look, that's how the Eagles play, man. They're trying to impose their will, but they're trying to impose it with the running game. And when the running game is not generating those explosive plays, then it becomes a grind.
It's like you can say mindset, John.
Well, it is from the and that's what same thing when you can call it that. I call it margin of error. Yeah, you're decreasing your margin of error, but they found this way. That's my whole point is the rest of the league can't play this way. But there are little things like here's my biggest criticism of the Eagles offense in Kansas City. My biggest criticism. They don't have Dallas Goedert. They're running 12 personnel 34 times, I think it was. 34 times. With Grant Calcaterra and Kylan Granson and a little bit of Cam Latu, who, is a better blocker than both of them. But why?
Right.
That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, all right, that's to Zander's point about imposing your will. They're like, well, we'll just put in Grant and we'll do what we do with Dallas Goedert. The hubris they have as an organization. That to me is
you would think, okay, Goddard's not here. Let's get a little bit more 11 and get Dotson out there more and get them into nickel and have them on their heels all game, because this is where they had problems,
Yeah, and then you have the first play gets blown up because Calcaterra misses a block.
I know.
It's like, well, should we have expected Calcaterra to make the block? The guy can't block. He's never been able to block. Why should we expect him to block now? Because Goddard's hurt.
That to me is the most legitimate criticism.
That makes sense, John.
And that stems from being too confident in yourself and saying, well, we'll just go to the next guy.
We talk about this a lot in baseball where, people get mad. Why did they bring this pitcher in the game? Why him right now? And it's like, well, if I don't see him do it in a game in the 7th inning, then I'll never be able to use him in this. Like, I have to see if he can go from the 5th inning guy to become the 7th inning guy. So the Eagles might be saying, look, we have to be able to run some of this stuff, whether Goddard's here or not. If he gets hurt long term, we can't just throw this stuff out of the playbook. So we might as well try it and get these guys game opportunities in doing it.
Well, that's possible, but I do think that the level of usage has to shift a little bit. Like, I'm not saying don't play.
Right, but you can do it. You can do it once you get up 28-3, and then try to do those things. Hey, exactly. We now got a little bit of a cushion here. Let's try to see if we can run some of this stuff that we would run with Dallas in the game.
And to point about, your baseball point, I think the most valuable baseball point with relievers that people miss, they don't have rubber arms. You might have pitched 2 innings a day ago. You can't just go out and pitch 2 innings in perpetuity.
Right.
You get sometimes guys aren't available, guys are available. That's the thing about and translating that to football. The mentality that, he's up, he's playing, so he's 100%. Landon Dickerson being an example right now. So maybe you can't do things from a normal perspective because of what he's going through. And as you get later in the season, a bunch of guys are banged up and you're trying to get through things. So there's a lot of intricacies to it that aren't on the surface. But this early in the season, you probably should change your mindset a little bit when you lose a player like Dallas Goedert. But for Kevin, I go back to my original point, man. He needs somebody to score some damn points so he can prove he can score some points. Because otherwise, they're just going to be conservative and not turn it over and get to the finish line. And everybody's going to go, damn, that was ugly.
Well, we did see a lot of time, right? The offensive line was giving Hurts plenty of time. And then, so when you're watching that on television as a fan, you're seeing that he's got time to throw the ball. Why
this fan base is not prepared for that conversation. I don't want to go down that route.
Just saying.
The ball doesn't come out when it should. It just doesn't.
Yeah. I don't agree with you that the fan base isn't ready for the conversation. Bullshit. We're all grown here. We can have the conversation.
Well, you've been on this show. You've been on the show long enough to know they're not prepared for that conversation.
Well, that's what you're watching the game and you see that he's standing back there and he's just jumping up and down and looking all around. Our guy's not open, or the route concept's just so basic that, hey, they're just doing backyard stuff, swinging back and forth, going here, there, and everywhere, just saying, hey, here, get it. Like that is the frustrating part when you watch this offensive, when you talk about there's just no fluidity in it, which, we've had this discussion for the last 5 years.
Yeah. So should we go down the tush push route? That's you.
Zander. Oh, John, you told me you weren't going to do it.
I'm not going to personally do it, but it's such a big story. Schefter's out there talking about it. Mike Greenberg's out there talking about it.
Everybody now. I mean,
it's and I, Mike asked me the question on his show. I'm forced to talk about it. So to me, look, it's gone. Enjoy it while it's here. The Eagles are great at it. They'll also be great at the traditional quarterback sneak. It is not the reason they win football games. It's not the reason they beat the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a very successful play for them. They don't need it. from a business perspective, the NFL is right. It's a television property. It involves more than Philadelphia. They need it out of the game. They should have never put it back in the game, which is what my original argument dating back to the Bush push in college. It was dumb to go down this road. It took a long time for a team to take advantage of it. The Eagles did. There's nothing wrong with it. Those are the rules as currently constructed. But this mentality of, they're trying to derail the Philadelphia Eagles. That is where I differ from everybody. That's complete and utter bullshit.
The Eagles are almost at the point now where they're almost taunting you with it, right? They run it 7 times, and it's like, we're just going to keep doing it because we know it gets under your skin. We know it annoys everybody. And that gets there at the point now where they know it's coming to the end, so they're just going to use it all up.
Who are the Eagles trolling?
Their opponent.
Well, they're trolling the people who voted against it,
and they're trolling their opponent. I mean, there's nothing worse than lying.
I heard Sean McVay talk about it. I heard Andy talk about it. Sean's already talking about it. They know they can't stop it. They know where it is.
I do feel like the Eagles have, didn't they used to only do it on 4th down? Now it's like 3rd and 1, and they're lining
they do it. I mean, they'll do it.
It's a down and distance thing.
They'll do it on 3rd and 2, knowing they're going to go on it on 4th down. So a lot of times it's unsuccessful. I put that in quotations on 3rd and 2, and they get the 4th and 1, and then they get 4th and 1. So to me, that's successful.
The biggest I thought, obviously Schefter comes out and says that, and that has everybody riled up to hear someone of his stature.
Well, that was a dumb statement. That was
right
dumb.
To make
the
that
game
comment.
Was lost in March. I guess shut up.
But when Blandino says
that was the best. That's where I am.
I'm done with this push because but when he
they can't officiate it.
You can't officiate the play. That is when the league says, "Whoa, now that's something that stands out." You can't stop it or blah blah blah. You can't officiate it. That now is a problem, not for the other team. It's for the people trying to legislate the action, and they're saying, "I don't know where the play starts or ends, or where to put the ball. There's a fumble." I mean, who the hell knows if the guy actually got that ball cleanly somewhere as he's backwardsing air surfing on the pile, and then you don't know when the play is dead, because inevitably somebody comes and just keeps pushing the pile forward. So it's a play that I've said, look, everybody watching this show, if you are being objective and you were not an Eagles fan and they just said, "Hey, everybody, watch this play," what do you think? You'd say this play is ridiculous. There's no way this play should be legal.
Well, that's my argument. There is not an objective person in this world, and I'm sorry.
And I'm not saying I want them to get rid of this play. If the Eagles are utilizing the play and it's successful for them, use it as much as possible because it's in the rules. I'm just saying, if I was a football fan and I had no allegiance to any team and you just sat in a room and someone hit play and said, "What do you think of this play?" You'd say, "Well, that play isn't fair. You got 2 running backs pushing a guy. The defense can't push back." Sometimes
my whole thing is just take away the dudes from behind Jalen and let him do it. He's gonna get
it anyway. That's been my point from the Eagles. Once were the Eagles have been great at the traditional quarterback sneak forever, dating back to the Carson Wentz days. They were 100% the one year with Carson Wentz running a traditional quarterback sneak. 100 freaking percent. In 2021. Their before they started using it, their success rate with the traditional quarterback sneak with Jalen was better than it was last year with the tush push. I mean, it doesn't. They're going to be just as good. It's not going to affect them, and that's not even the point. To Mike's point, it's the objectivity of the game, and it's about the game. It's not about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's about the game as a whole. And I believe pushing shouldn't be. I see it all over. And again, forget about the tush push. You shouldn't be able to push guys 10 yards down the field on a normal play. Could be a pass play where everybody gets together and starts pushing. That used to be illegal.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Yeah,
For
it's
the
weird.
vast majority of the history of the NFL, that was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, and by the way, the reason was stupid NFL, feel free to criticize. They said, well, that's too hard to officiate it. So, and they opened this freaking Pandora's box.
Well, and it's like conversely, they made rules for the defense that they can't get leverage. Like the guy can't put his hands on the nose guard and like leapfrog over top of them because you can't get leverage. The offense is getting leverage that the defense isn't allowed to get. That's why the play is, in my mind,
by the way, all over the field, not just tush push. It's not about all over the field. Pushing should be banned on offense.
Yeah, guys in the open field, and you just, the way they set up it too, it makes it this whole scene. And now you got the overhead camera looking at these like 11, 22 guys just like all in a thing. I mean, now
those are now the pictures all over social media. All 5 offensive linemen off sides. I'm like, oh, God,
remember, Mike's been watching football. Remember when your forward progress was stopped as a running back and they blow the whistle? Now you'll see, watch any other game. You'll see a guy get a nice 4 or 5 yard run, and you go, oh, it's going to be 2nd and 5. No, they don't blow the whistle, and they keep pushing them down the field, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 1 or 3rd. Yeah. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. It's again. I think basically you're at the end of the line with the play because, well, the question would be the league, if the same people vote the same way, or does the league doesn't have the power just to say, you know what, we're making an executive decision here and just banning the play. Can they do that?
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They banned, to the point. And by the way, this is another point. Yeah, and this is what I brought up Vic saying about the acclimation period in training camp. I don't know if you heard that, but it was phenomenal. He's like, how stupid is that? Darius Smith can come in off his couch and play right away in the regular season. Why can't he start training camp like that? Chance Campbell comes in 2 days. He can play right away. But no, you have to have an acclimation. Why? Hey, look at us. Look at we care about the player's health. No, they don't. They care about you thinking that they care about the player's health. And they put these, PR policies in place. That's what they were trying to do with the tush push. Everybody blames the Packers. Oh, they want to ban their No, the NFL didn't want to put it. They want somebody else. They do this all the time. And they get a team to sponsor a rule and they test it. And they say, how is this going to go over? It's like in politics, it's a trial balloon. How is this going to go over? And obviously it went over like a lead balloon with their wording of it. But ultimately they test it out. Then they go back and draw back and they'll just give it to the competition committee. The competition committee will now say, hey, can't officiate it. And everybody will vote on it.
Buying a conspiracy that was the message to the refs and to everybody, because that 3 years I never heard that they couldn't officiate it. I never heard that. Now it's like 2 games in, they can't officiate.
Well, I can tell you only from personal. I was saying, and I said it immediately after the game, this is an absolute shit show. And I feel like Dean Blandino in live and in color was the same way. He was like, this is ridiculous. This is. Landon Dickerson jumped offside. They missed it. Kansas City lined up offside. They missed it. Somebody on Kansas City, I don't know because everybody's so jumbled up, tried to swipe the ball away from Cam Jurgens. They missed it. They missed everything on both sides of the football. It
started
show.
Last year with Frankie Louvu on going offsides 3 times in a row. I mean, that was where you're just trying to like disrupt the play by timing it. And then this week, I mean, the whole thing with because that's the one thing is when you line up for a traditional quarterback sneak, the formation is not completely different. You're just still running a normal looking play. This play has a completely different look to it, where it then causes the defense to just bottle up. So you have this whole jamming of the players, and then everybody's trying to get as low as possible. So because they're getting so low, you got like helmets on top of helmets there. Everybody's off sides. I mean, everybody's in the neutral zone.
It is so obvious that it's got to be out of the game. And look, I get it's not going to work in this city. I get, McMullen hates the Eagles. I love the Eagles. Not in that sense. I don't care if they win or lose, but I love so many people that work for the organization. I have so much respect for people that work with the organization. So many of the players I get to cover. I root for them personally. Objectively, the play's got to go, guys. It's got to go. And it's not going to impact the Eagles.
I already know it's going this year. This year.
It's not even going to impact the Eagles. They're still going to be the best quarterback sneak team in the NFL. I firmly believe that.
Mike, last question for me, brother. Am I an Eagle curmudgeon? Do I need to just embrace, Mike, how we play? Do I need to just stop dreaming of A.J. Brown running free with 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, Devontae Smith catching deep balls? Do I have to just let it go and embrace it, Mike? Or am I right to want and desire more from the Eagles offense? What do you think, Mike?
Well, both obviously can be true. I mean, imagine a world where 2 things can actually be true at once. So what an unbelievable place. There's not just absolutes in every single discussion.
What a complex world we live in.
What a world, I think that you could wish that the team was more aesthetically pleasing, but also be thrilled to death that you have what you have because it's the best for now. I mean, listen, the Chiefs had a run of a decade and had success. That's where the Eagles are trying to get to. They got to a level, but I said before, to get to that next level, you win the back-to-backs. Like that puts you in the memorable status. People will always remember this Chiefs era. Will they remember this Eagles era or just that one team? That's what you're fighting at right now. And how do you keep the sustainability of we don't want to be good one year. We don't want to be good, they won a Super Bowl in 2017 and then again in 2024. Are you going to look back at a era of Eagles football, though, and say, you remember those Eagles teams from 2025 to 2035? That's what you're trying to get right now. And to do that, it's very difficult. So they're winning and piling up. You've won 18 out of 19 straight games or, 19 games right now. It's totally crazy. But if you don't end up winning another Super Bowl, how are people going to remember this era of Eagles football? I don't know. So enjoy it while you're winning all these games en route to try to get to that level of organization.
Nicely said, Mike. A little bit of politicking there, but it came out well. Good stuff there. John, any other question? You go for Mike?
Yeah, at Mike Gill Show. Make sure you follow Mike on the X platform. Subscribe to his YouTube page, 97.3 Down the Shore. 97.5 The Fanatic on the weekends up in the Philadelphia area if you want to listen to him there. Boy, I always I gotta be really disciplined there, Mike. 97.3, 97.5. I don't know how you do it. I'd go back and forth. I never
actually messed it up, but it is one tick of the dial. It's,
yeah.
Easy
Got to be
correction.
really disciplined, like the Eagles' offense. Maybe too disciplined. Maybe you got to take a shot once in a while. Take a shot
every now and then. The big thing too with this offense is every once in a while they let you have it, right? You can enjoy that.
Oh yeah.
It's like getting a quarterly bonus, right? You just kind of every once in a while you're kind of
right.
Hey, look at all that money.
Well, hey, like I said, it's counterintuitive, but hope the Rams score some points and you'll see some offense. I guarantee it. Counterintuitive. You want that though? Do you want that?
Right. Do you want the defense to not have a good day and now you're in a shootout game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what ends up happening. Mike, good stuff, man. Excuse me. We appreciate you joining in today. We'll talk to you again next week. Good stuff, brother.
See you guys.
Thanks, bud.
Mike Gill joining us here. Good stuff from Mike Gill. Got to appreciate that. Stayed up late to watch the Phillies game, John. They start at 10 p.m.
I can't.
We appreciate it.
They already won the division. I joked. No more Magic. I said that to Vic. No more Magic number talk. but he's focused on getting the top spot or second spot, whatever it is they're going for. But obviously, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to get a bye, so they're in good shape. The Phillies, good shape.
Yep, good stuff there. John, we'll get to some super chats here. I thought Mike Gill was good today. I think the offensive discussion, John, is so interesting. I really do, because part of me does get it, where people are like, just shut up and enjoy the wins. And I'm like, I hear you.
Why are we here? And just shut up. Why are we here?
Yeah, right.
We're not going to shut up.
I always say that. We do a sports talk show. We got to talk about everything, good, bad, indifferent. But man, all these weapons, I feel like we could be even more lethal on offense. But we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. Let's go to some super chats. Dank Bird Gang, what's up, Dank? He says, it's all right to be concerned with the offense at this moment, but they won't rest on their laurels.
Well, I never said they would, but I think there's a lot of the Eagles are constantly trying to get better. I mean, that's a good thing. When you talk about, a lot of fans will say, shut up, as Zander was saying, shut up, they're winning games. That the Eagles don't think that way. If they thought that way, you'd have a problem. They know they need to get better on offense. But they're riding this wave, and I wanted to ask Kevin that question, and Tim got it in, so I'm glad he got it in. Tim McManus, my buddy, and it was about the double positive, which is, again, I say all the time, the Eagles, if you pay attention, that's all they care about.
Yep.
Is winning the double positive. But it's a lot of times the second part of it, which is the explosive plays, are, and I've been using that word a lot today, counterintuitive to ball security. Because to generate explosive plays in the passing game, you have to take some chances.
This is where I think they've gone too far. The reductionist mindset's why I use that word. They're like, okay, if we throw the ball at all, we might get a turnover. Yeah, well, no fucking shit. But you do have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. You're just never going to throw them the ball in order to avoid a turnover?
Well, they throw them the ball, but they're not throwing it down the field. They, their completion percentage is off the charts, same way in training camp. Because they're not throwing the ball down the field. And when they have had two big shots. Week 1, Jahan Dotson. Week 2, Devontae Smith. And that's it, basically. So they've gotten those limited explosive plays. But if you look at it from their perspective, they've lost the explosive play battle in both games. But they won the turnover battle in both games. So you're having these close games because you're not winning both. And Kevin admitted it's, basically sometimes they're not in concert because it's difficult to be that secure with the football, versus trying to generate those explosive plays. What happened great last year, they generated them with the running game, which they're not doing this year nearly as much. So that is a big difference as well.
Well, my bet would be if they were able to throw the ball a little bit more than 8 yards downfield right now, or at least attempted it more, then the running game would open up a little bit more. I mean, teams aren't. There was one.
It's always
you talked about it. You said it. Oh, Steve still got burned on the zero blitz on the deep ball. It was one play of 60 or however many it was. Like, if you're Spags, you live with that. You happily live with that. I took away all of Saquon and every other big run, and we gave up one 28-yard play. I know.
Well, they gave up one. But from you're right in the bigger picture. You're right from the standpoint of if you're just grading Steve Spagnuolo in that game. I mean, and you go into a game and say, "Hey, we're only going to give up one explosive play today against the Philadelphia Eagles." People are going to laugh at you, and that's what the Chiefs did. Now, again, if you dive, because everything's about context in this game, as you're talking about, everything's connected. He also has to understand his situation and the fact that how limited they were offensively on that particular Sunday. All of this factors into it. Like, you can't go behind 2 scores. You can go behind 16-10. That's my criticism of Steve Spagnuolo. You can go behind 16-10. You're in the game, in theory. Right. You go down 2 scores, that's like 90. 10 points felt like 90 points with that offense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when from that macro perspective of you're just looking at the game book and say, hey, they gave up one explosive play. That's a win for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. But that particular play crippled them. And they're probably too aggressive on that particular play. Again, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And under the situation, look, if you have Rashee Rice, if you have Xavier Worthy, there's a different mindset. But you have to understand the predicament you're in as a coach.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I understand it's a complex problem with a lot of context to it. But part of me wonders or fears that they're just like they're in Jalen's head. Like Jalen's not pulling the trigger because he's more focused on not turning the football over than he is on making plays. It's like, okay.
Hey,
every window's tight, John. You say it all the time. Every window's tight in the NFL. There's no gaping hole unless a blown coverage happens. There's no gaping holes in the NFL. You got to get that ball out. And I feel like now that they've gone so hard onto don't turn the football over, Jalen. It's like almost like he's not allowed to throw an interception. Dude, let the ball fly. You got AJ and Devontae. If we turn it over once here and there, it is what it is.
Yeah, I've been very consistent even after they won the Super Bowl. I've been very consistent. I thought they were unfair to Jalen Hurts at the bye week, even after they won the Super Bowl. And I say, I know nobody's going to agree with me. They're certainly not good because they won. But I think from a personal perspective, they were unfair to Jalen Hurts. And I think you're seeing some of that right now because he is unwilling to take chances because they've drilled it into him.
Yeah, right.
Is it good long term? Hey, is one Super Bowl championship good enough? Maybe.
Not to say they won't get to another one, but I do think just I don't know, it just feels like we can. Again, this is where I battle with it myself. I mean, people love to tell, Zander's talk about the passing game and we keep winning. Believe me, I battle with it myself. Do I care too much about the passing game when we just keep winning? I hear you, hip hop. I'm just saying, man, we got these weapons. I feel like you gotta let it fly, man. There's risk in everything you do in life. I mean, there's going to be risk that you turn the ball over here. That's football.
Well, I mean, if you continue down this path and you continue to win an enormous amount of football games and even win another Super Bowl, and you start looking at how this team is built, and already you have to shift from offense. Right now, all the offense guys, circumstance, timing, they're entrenched. They're veterans. They're on their second, third deals. They're the guys getting paid. Well, that's coming up for the defense. And what happens when that comes up for the defense? Well, you can't pay the offense. And some of it's baked in. Lane's going to retire. Saquon's going to, as a running back, is probably going to be, unfortunately for that position, short shelf life. At some point you're going to have to say, well, I'm not going to pay a receiver top of the line money if we continue to play like this. Yeah, and all of a sudden you don't have the crutch of AJ Brown or Devontae Smith because you can't, because you got to pay the defense. A whole bunch of shit is going to come into the conversation. And that's why you want to take advantage of this window and get another one, because things have to shift because of the money train is going to start to lean more towards the defense.
Good stuff. We got a couple more super chats we'll get to. What the Duck Auto, good name. What do y'all think of Colin's take of AJ? I guess you're talking about Colin Cowherd. He has no idea what he's talking about. They're not. They can't trade.
What did Colin say?
I don't think he even said like a trade was happening. I think he just said like keep your eye on AJ Brown because he's not going to be happy.
Everybody.
Yeah, but it wasn't a report. People took it like a report. It was more like a talk show guy saying, if AJ Brown doesn't get the ball more, he's not going to want to be in that offense anymore. And that's just a speculate. I don't think he was saying it as a report at all or anything.
Well, I think a lot of it came up, and I wrote about this on SI. I'll retweet it if people want to read it. But Diana Rossini brought up, teams were calling Howie in the offseason because teams, again, there's two things about that. One, GMs talk, by the way. And they'll bring up a lot of people's names that would shock people if they, were into it. Like, I mean, that's what you do. Think of it as a group of friends talking around. Hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? It's not real.
Right. Doesn't mean every deal is going to go through, but they talk about everybody.
Yeah. So there's a lot of teams calling Howie, and the context of that was, I think she described it as no dice. We're not trading this guy. So, both sides are true. Again, teams called. Howie said, no, we're not trading this guy, and that's the extent of it. Now, the more, again, as I said, if you start to lose games and continue to play like this, it will become a problem. Not only with AJ, with Devontae. That's not going to happen, though. If they do lose a game or two, they're going to go, shit, we gotta shift gears. We gotta get the passing game more involved. And again, I think it's more going to be the personality of certain games. Right now, they haven't needed it. Week 1, because Jalen was able to do things with his legs. Week 2, because Kansas City was so limited. They haven't needed it to win the games. They needed some breaks as well with the drop passes, but they haven't needed it. If the Rams go out and score 30, they're going to need it, and you're going to see it. They might win, they might lose, and if they do lose, say they lose 30-28, let's say that, and they lose with the ball and they throw an interception trying to make a play. People are going to go, you can't do that. It's just the nature of it. You got to do what you got to do to win a game. And that's what the Eagles have been very good at and very cognizant of. And they will continue to do that. And Nick said it a million times, and I'll say it a million more. If I got to throw it 40 times, I'll throw it 40 times. If I got to run it 40 times, I'll run it 40 times. Right now, they haven't had to throw it 40 times. There will be a game where they have to throw it a lot. Maybe not 40. He's just using that number. There will come a game where they have to throw it a lot, and the numbers will look better for the passing game. To me, it's pretty common sense. Same thing with run-pass ratio. What do I always say? Well, tell me who's winning in the fourth quarter. I'll tell you the damn run-pass ratio. I'm not Nostradamus. It's just obvious.
Yeah, I'm looking at the AJ contract, and I don't even want to do this right now because they're not fucking trading AJ Brown. But just to give some information for people, 25. If you click on the cut thing on Spot Track, John, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it says post 6-1 trade, which is what we would be right now. The dead cap would be 10.6 mil this year, 20.5 mil next year. That's way less than I thought. But it's the release that would be a $70 million dead cap. They're obviously not going to release AJ Brown.
Look,
so I don't think it's really likely, but
the only thing that could cause consternation is losing football games and not making the adjustment in the offense.
Right.
And that's not going to happen. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're not trading them.
No, they're not. I don't even want to entertain it. Dank says, John in his bag today. John's in his bag every day, Dank. That's a good thing, John, if you're not familiar with the slang.
Yeah, I'm pretty consistent. But I do like when Vic tells the truth. I mean, because I'm not Vic Fangio, so when I say it, halftime adjustments are overblown. People go, McMullen. Yeah, I say it because I hear it from people who do it. That's why I say it. And when they do it on the record, it's nice.
ZZZ checks in. What's up, brother? Sirianni always stands in front of the press and acts like he rides for Jalen, but a lot of things he does scream the opposite. Do you trust him or not? See, I like that super chat because I kind of agree. I mean, Nick's always giving us the song.
Well, I would argue if trust is not the right word. I would argue, do you help him or not? Look, there are people in this constituency, a lot of people who believe Jalen Hurts is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in football because of the Eagles' success. this coaching staff is helping Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does a lot for the coaching staff as well when he extends plays like he did against Dallas and all that kind of stuff. As far as trust, what's your definition of trust? ZZZZZ. What is that definition? Throw it 40 times? They're not going to throw it 40 times unless they have.
How about trust? How about trust that if you see something and you want to throw the football downfield to two of the top 10 receivers in football, pull the trigger. I don't need a beat into your head if you turn the ball over. We're fucked. I mean, dude, you're a quarterback. You're
Well,
going to have
I don't think they describe it that way. I think they describe it as, what's the numbers? 38-9 or 39-8. I forget. I get it conflated.
Yeah, then I guess they're right.
So they won 18 of 19 games. The turnover ratio in those 19 games is that. Jeff Kerr posted it. I'm trying to find it. Anyway, that's what it was, 38-9 or 39-8. I can't find it, but that's what it was. Eagles are the ones getting all the takeaways and not giving it away, by the way, if you didn't get that. So, I mean, again, I think they've gone too far. I'm the one who said it's unfair. I thought they overreacted after the Tampa game last year when they didn't have AJ, didn't have Devontae, didn't have Lane. I thought they overreacted, but they've won 18 of 19 games doing it the way they did it. So they're not going to change until they lose a game. Why would you? And when Jalen's out there, they won 16 consecutive when he started and finished. The one game being Washington where he got the concussion, and they lost that with 6 seconds left. They should have won that with Kenny Pickett. And the defense kind of blew it at the end. So that's how successful they've been with this mindset. It's not changing. And Jalen has mentioned that he has to, similar to AJ, that he has to accept that lots essentially in life. As long as the wins keep coming. So it's a strange thing to wish for, because the more you throw the football, the more, even a guy like Matthew Stafford, who, again, you heard Vic talk about him yesterday, and the as I like to call them, high volume throwers. This guy's thrown for 5,000 yards. You know, this guy can throw it all over the lot. His biggest seasons from a statistical standpoint came in Detroit. Why? Because outside of a couple years where they, made the playoffs, and even then, he had his 5,000 yard season when they won 10 games. And then he's, 4,900, 4,600, 4,200, 4,200, 4,300, 4,400. Tremendous consistency. But the vast majority of that, 4 wins, 7 wins. Outlier being 11 wins, 7 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins. He's elevating a bad team to the cusp of being maybe the last seed in the playoffs. You're getting these big numbers. Not only you have to have that kind of talent, that arm talent, which is rare. But even for a guy like that, you have to be in a position where you need to throw the ball. And you don't want to be in that position. So it's, you want to find a nice, comfortable middle ground, but that's generally not the NFL. You're either passing to try to get back in the game, or you're running to try to close out a game. That's the way it works.
Right. Here's easy. Follows up. Trust is giving your quarterback opportunities to thrive more often. You don't have to throw the ball 50 times. He looks like he's in timeout most of the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's an ugly offense. It just is. This is what I don't get. It was an ugly offense When Nick was running it, it was an ugly offense. When Shane was running it, it was an ugly offense. When Brian was running it, it was an ugly offense last year, and it remains an ugly offense. Just from not a success standpoint. Sometimes it's more successful than not. From a aesthetic standpoint, it doesn't look like what you're going to see from Sean McVay. What would you rather have? I'd rather have their offense because I want the offensive line, I want the running back, and I have the quarterback who can make plays when he needs to play, and I have great receivers. And people should all be thankful. One of the things with A.J. Brown is the assumption of others. And by that, I mean, because other wide receivers would complain, they assume he's complaining. He has been a model citizen.
I know he has, but it's you do. I mean, he does want the ball more, doesn't he? I mean, come on,
He admits that
human.
every week, every receiver. So does Devontae.
Yes,
Every receiver. If you have a receiver that doesn't want the football, you don't want that receiver.
exactly.
But they're not the diva type receivers who are going to complain and say, especially when they're winning, and go up and say, I don't give a shit, I need my 10 catches. They're very high character football people from that standpoint. And part of it, and AJ admits all the time, look, he didn't handle it as well when he was in Tennessee at times, and Derrick Henry, because they were run first. But that has helped him learn. And maybe if he grew up in a different environment, like he was playing on those Detroit teams where they're throwing for 5,000 yards and a bad football team with Matthew Stafford, maybe he's got a different mindset.
Yeah, maybe interesting conversation. We'll see how it continues to evolve throughout the year this year. I think it's got to evolve a little bit, but we will see. Maybe I'm wrong, and they'll march their way to another Super Bowl doing it this way, and I'll have to eat my crow on it, but we will see what ends up happening. We got BLG in the green room. I apologize. I sent BLG's link this morning in my email, John. I'm telling you, my email's all fucked up. It didn't send, so I messed that up. So my bad, BLG. Good to have you in here. Let's bring him up right now on Birds 365. Brandon Lee Gouton joins us on Birds 365. You can read him at bleedinggreennation.com and follow him at Brandon Gouton. BLG, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother?
Doing good. The Eagles are 2-0, and yet we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, 2-0. Well, we had a good comment, so I'm going to throw it your way. I gave my answer. I want to hear your answer. A lot of people think the Eagles don't trust Jalen Hurts. Where are you on the trust scale? Whatever your definition of trust is, and where are you?
I mean, I think when we talk about the offense here, it's a little naive to me to just be like, well, Kevin Patullo is terrible, and it's all him, and there's no commonalities between multiple offensive coordinators over multiple years with the same.
It's all the same, BLG. It's all the same. We've been through this.
That's what I mean. Like, it's Groundhog Day. It's just, and it's also like, well, it's just, okay, so let's just say they fire Kevin Patullo for the sake of the argument. And then we have this issue again next year. Are we going to be like, wow, the offensive coordinator again is the problem? It's like, at what point do we have to? And look, let me be clear. I mean, I don't think the offensive coordinator bears zero responsibility in this. They're part of the equation for sure. Right. But it's just to point to them and them alone. I think that's naive.
Yeah. Have they gone too far with it though, BLG? Like it almost feels like, and that's the point about the trust question. It almost feels like Jalen doesn't feel like he should throw the ball downfield at all. Like we do have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like I asked Mike Gill this. Maybe I'm being the Eagle curmudgeon right now, and I should just enjoy the wins.
That's my job.
I should just enjoy the wins. But it feels like we're doing too much. It feels like we were going too far with trying to avoid the turnover, avoid the negative play at the detriment of two of the best receivers in football who you can get the ball to, and it will drastically improve your offensive output. At least it feels like that to me. Am I going too far with it? Should I just enjoy it, or am I on to something? What do you think?
No, I think there are fair gripes to have here. I also think it's fair to acknowledge we're entering week 3. And entering week 3 last year, people certainly didn't think this was an amazing team that could win the Super Bowl like they did. Things take time. And just because they're off to a slower start in offense doesn't mean, they'll definitely turn it around. But the point is, there's a lot of season left. There is hope that the talent is going to, win out, that they're going to figure some of these things out over the course of this season. But if they don't, if we don't see this change, in a few weeks, in a couple weeks here, then yeah, I mean, like, there's only going to be more reason to be concerned about what you are right now. And they just the point is they've done a good enough job, obviously, to go 2-0, but they haven't done a good enough job to make you feel like they can continue to win this way if they're going to be this limited on offense.
Well, part of it in my thought process is, and this is difficult to wrangle with if you're Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni, but my standpoint is if they actually base a team, and Jim Schwartz was the one who said it to me, and I'm sure other people have said it, but that it's always stuck out to me since that day. Every game has a personality, he used to say. And if the Eagles are forced to score some points, they're going to score some points. If they're in that game, that type of shootout game, if the LA Rams are clicking and the defense isn't playing well, and they're going to score 33 points, the Eagles are going to score some points. But do you really want to see that? It's like they'll shift and they'll go more to the passing game to keep up, and they'll generate some offense. So how do you service those two masters? Do you really want to see that?
I mean, I think, it's Nick Sirianni himself talks about, wise man avoids all extremes. Things a little bit extreme to the point of how they have not gone, downfield this year, considering that they have the talent for it. They have not only in the form of their wide receivers, but the quarterback, some of his best throws are downfield throws. So I do think they get too extreme going away from that at times. And look, they did try more than it seems like, because you look at that first play of the Chiefs game and how that didn't work out there with the block kind of getting blown by Grant Calcaterra. So it's not like they don't try at all, but I do think even in the strategic decision making that we see from Nick Sirianni, which I think frustrates me at times, where he talks about how he handled that end of half situation there against the Chiefs, and obviously bled the clock down to set up a long field goal. It worked out okay, but I don't think that's how they had to handle it. I think they could have tried to go and maybe take a shot to the end zone, or at the very least try to get a shorter field goal, because that's like not a great plan necessarily to just rely on a 50-plus yarder like that. And the reasoning for that field goal attempt, or at least what Nick Sirianni talked about in his press conference after the game, something that irks me is like there seems to be this. He was so concerned about giving the ball back to Patrick Mahomes, and like I get that you want to eliminate that ideally, but it can't be at the cost of like not believing in your team. It's like you're almost more worried about what the other team is going to do than what you are going to do, and I just don't like that. And I think sometimes they play into that.
Yeah, I don't like it from the perspective of how limited. I mean, there's a reason Vic Fangio never blitzes, and he's blitzing like he's Steve Spagnuolo, not quite at that level, but he's blitzing all over the place. And the context of that is, well, Kansas City doesn't have any of their receivers. And basically Tyquan Thornton was their best receiver at the end of the game, and Nico something or other. I haven't looked up his name recently. That's what you're dealing with. Now, if Rashee Rice is out on the field, if Xavier Worthy's out on the field, maybe I can get on Nick Sirianni's mindset and say, oh, that makes some sense. But to your point, yeah, they know the reason they played the way they played is because there was a mindset that Kansas City wasn't going to be able to strike down the field. So I think that was more of BLG perfectly just explaining away a situation. Like you say, well, they'll buy this. It's Patrick Mahomes. And I kind of agree with you. They have to be more, have a bigger sense of urgency offensively. But I say all that to say this, and you were there every day in camp, and we said the same thing every day. All they're doing, dumping the football off. All they're doing, very few shots down the field. This team practices ball security. And the numbers are insane So they're 18-1. The number is 39 takeaways, 8 giveaways over those 19 games. Is that just it? If they don't turn the ball over, they're going to win the game.
It gives them a really good chance, obviously, but it can't just always be that simple, because there's times too where you can be smart and try not to put the ball in harm's way, but something happens, where kind of like he did early in this game, where Jalen maybe is running a little bit and he just the ball hits his knee and it bounces, and then Grant Calcaterra recovers it. But point being, like, sometimes you just get a bad bounce of the football.
Oh, that's my thing.
Yeah, there's going to be times where it's not totally in your control, and you're going to have to, put up points in a big way. So I think over the long term, sure, or it can work. It's not that it can't work. Obviously, we know it can work, but I just think it's a bridge the gap. That's my point, between the extreme of doing what they're doing and also maybe opening it up a bit more.
Yeah. I think finding that gray area is where I'm trying to get to. I just think that the offense has more capabilities. We'll see if they're able to unlock it. It is only week 2. We don't want to sound too many alarms yet. BLG, let's talk about that defense, man. I think they're ahead of schedule. That's what I would say, looking at that defense. I mean, you remember all of our off-season conversations right here on the show with you, BLJ. Most of them were about the change and the turnover on the defensive side of the ball. They've come in and looked pretty good. 37 points given up through 2 weeks. I know you didn't have 2 of the best teams and 2 of the best offenses, but what's your thoughts?
Offense is pretty good. I'd say Dallas's offense is pretty good.
Yeah, they got playmakers. What's your thought right now on the defense, BLG? They look ahead of schedule to me.
Yeah, like you said, kind of fair to point out too, the Chiefs are missing a bunch of wide receivers. Xavier Worthy, Rasheed Rice, Hollywood Brown plays in that game, but gets banged up a little bit at one point. So that helps. Same time, I am encouraged by this defense. Obviously, the defensive coordinator is worth believing in. You have to feel pretty good about that. Beyond that, I think we saw the pass rush come alive a bit in this game, and not just because of the blitzing, but also, defensive linemen actually being more involved here for a defense that only had 1 quarterback hit and 0 sacks, in week 1 there against the Cowboys. They seem to kind of have some more juice here. Zadarius Smith seems to be a pretty good signing from the jump. Seems like he definitely still has some gas left in the tank there. Jordan Davis, continuing to see production from him. Obviously, nice to get Jalen Carter back on the field. No one can set an edge. No one wants to set an edge like Nolan Smith, and how just freaking violent that guy is. I'm encouraged by seeing a tick up from the defensive line here.
Vic was on a roll yesterday. BLG, a lot of great stuff from Vic Fangio. I guess the most troubling part though was, hey, Jalen Carter's not in the best shape, and they've been talking about it. And I mentioned it back in training camp. I kind of saw the same thing. What's your concern level there? Obviously, it hasn't been the start, man. The issues we know week 1, and then week 2, you can see the difference he makes. But if he's not at the level where he needs to be, and that's Vic very publicly pointing it out, is that an alarm bell for you?
Yeah, especially it was such a big emphasis last year, and Vic Fangio's first year as defensive coordinator. I remember so many players talking about that in the offseason, workouts, and Jalen Carter was one of those players. So I don't think it's like he doesn't know the standard. He's not used to that. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe it's you had so much success last year. It's easy to kind of rest on your laurels a little bit. Maybe it's not that. In any case, yeah, that's not good, especially as, this is a big year for Jalen Carter in terms of he does everything right. He has a kind of, takes another step forward in his career development, and he could be like one of the highest paid defensive players in the NFL after this season. But, you're off to the start where you got kicked out of the game before snap in week 1. And now your defensive coordinator's kind of calling out your conditioning a bit here in week 2. Doesn't mean he can't turn it around, have an awesome season. Doesn't mean he's a great player, but to hit that next year, you're wanting to see some more production and progress, and not kind of these things that have kind of question marks that have lingered over you and your career in the past year. So, look, Vic's calling him out, I think, for a reason. I think that's intentional. I think, wanting to add some pressure on him,
Right.
and we'll see how he responds.
BLG, one of the positive early parts of this defense this year is the two rookies, man. Another class where the rookies just look good to start. Jahad Campbell obviously looks like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with once he really gets up to speed. Already looks pretty good. And now Andrew Makuba, while he still has some improvement to have as a rookie, boy, he's got that knack for the ball, BLG. He's always around the ball. What's your thoughts on the two rookies and how they've played so far?
He's a ball magnet somehow.
Yep.
I think that what I like about that week 2 Andrew Makuba performance there is that it wasn't perfect. He did struggle early on, and we saw him respond to that in a big way and play better after that. I think that's important because for as good as any player might be, you're not going to be perfect, and sometimes you're going to make mistakes. And certainly when you're a rookie playing in your second game, it's how you respond. And he had a great response to that. So I thought that was especially encouraging that he played well after some issues there. And he doesn't take it to the house for the pick six, but I mean,
you got caught by Josh Simmons.
That was a good tackle.
BLJ, that's a hat tip to an offensive lineman running 18 miles.
That's phenomenal by Josh Simmons.
Honestly, I think it worked out better for him too, because at that point, the offense, obviously you don't know you're going to be able to score 100% after that, but they took 5 minutes off the clock in that point in the game. Right. I think that was pretty valuable. So it wasn't intentional, but he did work out for his team. But he's a playmaker. That was the profile on him when the Eagles drafted him, and certainly he is making plays from what we've seen.
Yeah, I thought the most impressive play was that 3rd and 1 stop of I think it was Hollywood Brown. More than the interception's great, but let's be honest. I mean, Travis Kelce's got to pull that ball in, and who knows what happens. But you got to be on the spot, Johnny on the spot type of thing. And he does have a knack for being around the football. But all positive. Jahad Campbell, man. The NFL should be ashamed of himself. How did they let that guy fall to the Philadelphia Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions, because he's not going to be ready week 1, and he ends up being ready for training camp, never mind week 1. And by the way, BLG, even if he isn't ready for week 1, who gives a shit?
Right.
If you got to wait 4 or 5 weeks. What is wrong with these teams? That's happened. The Eagles beat half the league before they step on the field. I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, there's truth to that. I do wonder where he would have been drafted. Like, if somehow teams could know this would have been his timeline to be back on the field. We don't know that for sure, but very encouraged by Jahad Campbell as well. And you saw some of his value. It's like we saw in the preseason a bit too as a pass rusher in this game on that big series there where the Eagles score to go up 20-10. And I think everyone should have been feeling like, okay, this is where Patrick Mahomes now goes down and gets some points, even if not a touchdown, at least a field goal here to make it a 1-possession game. The Eagles defense forces him to go 3 and out, in part because on that 3rd down, Jahad Campbell blitzing Patrick Mahomes and making him uncomfortable and forcing him into an incompletion. So, I think he's only going to get better here. He's the youngest player on the roster. He's 21 years old. Like this playing time, I think is really going to serve him well, and he's only going to get better over the course of the year.
He's so long. He's just like a pain in the ass. He's like if BLG was a pass rusher, he's got all these giant limbs coming at you. He's a problem. I'm amazed at this league sometimes. I'm like everything. Oh, and look, a lot of GMs in this league, 31 GMs in this league, probably don't have the job security of Howie Roseman, so they're scared to do anything that could be second guessed. So from that standpoint, it's got to bump up to ownership, and it's similar to Jalen Hurts when we say on the field. Let them take some chances. Let these guys take some damn chances and maybe have a better organization. But that's for other people to worry about. One thing back to the offense I wanted to complain about, and I forgot to ask you. You don't have Dallas Goedert. It's not the first time they haven't had Dallas Goedert. Why the hell are you running 12 personnel? I think it was 34 times. What? That's the kind of stuff that bothers me. Like as a mindset. Why can't you go in? All right, this week we're a little light at tight end, so we're going to play more 11. We're going to spread it. Why? It's like we're the Philadelphia Eagles, and part of the mindset is we can do what we want. Next guy up, yada yada yada. I think there's some hubris to that.
I mean, when you look at the snap counts at the end of the game, and you see Kylan Granson, who I think is like a fine player for what he should be, like a third tight end, and he's playing more than Jahan Dotson, who, like, by all accounts, had a good offseason. Like, I think that is a little bit of a tough pill to swallow when you feel like 11 personnel would serve this offense pretty well when not only can you get on all those receivers on the field and throw to them, but you can also run out of that too. And that kind of opens up things in theory for Saquon Barkley there in the running game. You don't need extra, tight ends who can't block. It's a major.
Yeah, and then you're drawing up your
that's
play to
confounding
AJ
me.
Brown relies on a Calcaterra block. BLJ, what the? Why?
Well, yeah, I did hear. I agree that's like not your recipe for success. I do think at some level Calcaterra needs to be better. Not to the point where he needs to be the best blocking tight end in the league, but you have to sustain at least a little bit. You
can't just completely blow it.
I always heard
threshold.
Coaches with modern tight ends, the mindset is lose slowly. That's
right.
They know they can't block, but just lose slowly.
Yeah, he doesn't lose slowly. He just loses and quick.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's part of the problem. 2 weeks in a row. I think we all knew that it was going to be virtually impossible for Saquon Barkley to replicate last season from a statistical standpoint. It's just, it was historic. Nobody ever did it before. What are the odds that he sets an all-time record and then breaks it the next season? It was never going to be sustainable, but it's been kind of a slog. There's some positives. The 13-yard touchdown run was well blocked. I thought Tyler Steen, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson. He looks the same. I argued. I think you agreed with me. He looked better to me this summer than he looked last summer coming in. But it's not resonating yet early in the season. Now, this is the team he just destroyed with, I think, 4 60-plus yard touchdown runs.
Yep.
I think some of that's coming, but is that a mindset of, all right, we have to shift a little bit because of what I just said? It's impossible to back up that type of season.
I do think he will get going more than he has, and I don't think it's because he's looked like he's incapable. I think it's because these heavy sets are really I don't think they're really conducive to Saquon Barkley having success like that. So I worry about that if that's going to be an issue. They keep doing that. But yeah, I mean, and then this week, as you pointed out there, John, I'm very intrigued to see how this Rams team that could not stop him at all last year. I mean, he had over 500 yards from scrimmage between 460 or whatever rushing and 70 something receiving, and got to the end zone 4 times. Very interested to see how that goes here. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's not as simple as just running more 11 personnel, but to me, I would like to see more 11 personnel.
Yeah, spread the field. I'd like to see some room, some space. Everything is condensed. It's like the tush push. It's like the whole offense. All right, there it is. I said the word.
Wait, I got one. I want to go to. I want to go to a positive that I feel like won't get mentioned enough, but should be mentioned. All right, last year, BLG, Jake Elliott was 1 for 7 or 1 for 8 on 50-plus yarders. We're 2 games in, and he's already got 3 50-plus yard field goals right now. And then to boot with that, you got Braden Mann, who looks like he's one of the best punters in football. So special teams, BLG, is a welcome positive to start the season for the Philadelphia
Michael Clay. They're kicking away from Tank Bigsby.
I think that validates the trade right there. It's like that's the next Devin Hester back there. They can't possibly kick to him. On Braden Mann, he's in a contract year, so this is a big season for him. All indications so far doing pretty well. I knew after week 1, I saw he was number 1 in punter EPA. So and he looked good in the preseason too. So I think he's building a good case to get a payday, whether from the Eagles or some other team after this year. And then Jake Elliott, I was really bullish, as I think a lot of people were, on him bouncing back this season. Obviously seemed to be a little bit more dinged up than anyone realized last year, as people have talked about. So And just looking at the course of his career, I had a hard time believing he's simply bad now, and maybe he's just having one of these bad seasons, which even the best kickers in the NFL have every once in a while. You just kind of have a down year, and the fact that he's been able to hit from range is really encouraging to see that he's been able to turn that around.
Yeah, these kickers, man. Brandon Aubrey, 64.
That's nuts.
Yeah, Jake Elliott.
It's not only 64, but it's also
it would have been good from 70.
Well, and as soon as I was watching that game, and as soon as I saw the Giants score that touchdown, Russell Wilson to Malik Neighbors, I'm like, oh, Aubrey's just going to hit like a 70-yard field goal here to tie the game and send it in overtime. And it wasn't quite 70, but
that's close. It. You were watching. Now I was watching too. Now when they lined it up, I thought he was going to make the kick. Did you think he was going to make the kick? It's like 64. You're feeling pretty good. I'm like, no, he's going to make this.
Oh yeah. I had no doubt in my mind he's going to make that kick, especially in a dome. Maybe outside, maybe it might be a little bit different, but yeah.
It's unbelievable how good these guys have gotten so quickly. Because really, for many years, Justin Tucker was the standard. And now, guys, it's like 52 yards. It's like a walk in the park. And then you start, I guess, 55, 56, maybe they hit it wrong. And then there's other guys who are banging a lot of doinks. So Michael Clay brought that up. So, and as the weather, he always brings up, as the weather gets a little bit worse, especially in the outdoor venues, it'll become more difficult. But amazing improvement from the kickers as a whole. Break. I don't want to talk about the tush push because I'm so fed up with it. So I will skip that. But Vic, as a whole, there were three things I always like to pick people's brains when they listen to Vic, because I heard three things that just made me chuckle. Were there a couple things that Vic said yesterday that made BLG chuckle?
Well, I know you like the halftime adjustments.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's like it's the biggest myth in the NFL. It's nothing. You go in. Peyton Manning said it a couple times. Evidently said it again recently. You eat a couple orange slices, you go to the bathroom, you're back out.
Yeah,
we don't do anything.
Grab a snack and take a piss, and you're good.
Yeah. There's 18 years, he said, I've never had a halftime adjustment. And that's maybe, the best regular season quarterback of all time. Why don't people believe it? Why are people so hyper-focused on halftime adjustments? Vic's like, it takes me 3 minutes to get down because he's up in the booth,
right,
and 3 minutes to get back up. I love it that he said that.
Yeah, it's funny from the standpoint of just like you wait, right? You just wait to adjust. You're not like doing anything live in the game, especially too when you see the iPads and stuff back in the day, the pictures of the papers, like they're looking at stuff to adjust.
Also, I love the acclimation period, like pointing out just that it was like it was on his mind. He's like, what bullshit that is, because Vic wants to go out and practice, and he also gave that Easter egg. He has it every he basically says we don't practice enough. But he was talking about the acclimation period with somebody asked the Zadarius Smith question, and he's pointing out the hypocrisy of the NFL. If you start training camp, you got to have the acclimation period. But if you're Zadarius Smith, you can walk off the street and just play. And he brought up Chance Campbell of all people, because they got him late in training camp and said, hey, you can just go out there and play a day later. I love when he points out the hypocrisy of the NFL, because it's not about the safety of the players. It's about making you believe that we care about the safety of the players.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. But anyway, and I know most of the stuff is about the players, but I love when Vic was in rare form when he was doing certain stuff. And you could say, for whatever reason, he wanted to take a shot at the acclimation period, which I thought was hilarious, because nobody's thinking about that except Vic. He's like, what the nuttiness of that. It was tremendous. And I'm glad, because at the end of BLG, at the end of camp and, before the start of the season, like I thought the Eagles had gotten to him. He wouldn't talk about starters. He wouldn't tell the truth. And I was like, oh boy, they got the Vic. But no, they haven't. He's still saying with the Carter stuff and the practicing, it's great. It's
Or like
phenomenal.
the Ajomo too. He said, you
You got to stop.
Being surprised by that.
Poor, that's our buddy Caden Steele. Poor Caden. He's like, you got to stop, dude. He's a good player. He's a good player. So yeah, Vic was in rare form. On the other hand, Nick Sirianni, boy, like with Jalen Hurts, he seems like a little bit more open this year because they won the Super Bowl. Like Nick's the exact opposite. It's weird. Like, why isn't he emboldened by winning the Super Bowl?
That's a great question. I mean, I feel like almost literally every answer in a press conference these days is like, well, I can't get into that. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You got all these state secrets you're talking about. And he's caught himself with that in the past about things like I think like the no Moss, situation at the end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
At the end of the game there. He's like, I won't tell you what it is. It's like, well, number one, how would that change anything? Number two, it's all like on these mic'd up things. We've seen it. Like, what are you hiding? What are you actually hiding? It's just this mindset of we have to.
I've
said in the past, like I've said I get you want to. There is competitive advantage to some level, yes, at some level, but not to the level where like it's just like what's the point of even having a press conference? You can't talk about anything.
Yeah, I know. I love his explanation. Like he'll do it mid answer where he'll say, and I won't give you that.
Right.
It's like, all right, you don't have to explain. We can
too.
figure it.
Just don't say it. You don't have to. You don't have to say it.
Well, it's gotten the point. Nick's going to talk today, and Wednesdays are brutal because he talks at like noon, and then they don't have practice till 3:05. So we all got to go down there for this stupid press conference where it's going to say absolutely nothing, and then sit around and wait 3 hours for practice. Or in my case, I'll probably go to the Penrose Diner, but
and then find out things that you would have probably liked to ask him about.
Yeah,
had you seen practice first.
It's the dichotomy, but I mean, yeah, I would think he would be emboldened by winning the Super Bowl, but the exact opposite has happened. Not that it's a problem for the Eagles. I mean, they keep winning games, but I don't know. Are people enjoying it? Are fans enjoying it? Do you get feedback? Is there do you get criticism when you point out that he doesn't say anything?
I think people have just come to the point where they just don't even have the interest in like hearing what he has to say so much.
That's crazy. They're so successful. You would think they'd be on the edge of their seat now, but and to a certain extent, I think, he doesn't get the credit he deserves for this is the best era of Eagles football ever. And I don't get the feeling that he gets the credit he should for that. For whatever it might be, how he builds the roster, yada, yada, yada. He's got great players, similar to the same stuff Jalen Hurts gets as a quarterback. I think a lot of people give that to Nick, and I think if we were more open, he'd probably have a better sort of reputation, but I guess that doesn't matter ultimately if you get the Super Bowl ring. And the Eagles keep winning games, so we have to talk about other stuff, which is, but at some point, the margin of error might creep up. CeeDee Lamb catching the football, Travis Kelce catching the football. Maybe this is the week the Rams score some points and the Eagles will prove they can score some points. But again, I don't know if you want to hope for that. At Brandon Gouton, make sure you follow him on the X platform. Read him at bleedinggreennation.com. He and the staff do a tremendous job there. Who's going to win? Obviously, you have the right to change your mind. It's early in the week. We haven't even started preparation. But Vic has generally done pretty well against Sean McVay in his history.
Right. That and, I know it's a different team on both sides, but they couldn't stop Saquon Barkley at all. No. So why I'm not going to believe that they can until I see that change. So I'm going to lean into And also the line, which has been shifted, but originally opened at Eagles -4.5. That's significant for where
Yeah.
a Rams team is 2-0, and was pretty perceived to be well as a contender in the NFC. It's gone down to 3.5, so a little
They're
bit
graded
worse.
out too high, BLG, right now. PFF has them as one of the top teams in football through only 2 weeks, but still.
I think they were number one, weren't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're 2-0, but they, what? They beat the Titans. They beat the Texans, who I'm not really that impressed with.
Boy,
either,
I'm
so,
disappointed in that Texans team.
Yeah.
But their offensive line is so bad.
It
Yeah.
is.
Stroud.
But, yeah, I'll take the Eagles to win, but I say they won't cover. It'll be another field goal game.
Okay. Good stuff. BLG, thanks for joining in, brother. We appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys follow Matt Brandon Gouton and read his work at Bleeding Green Nation. That's a great website for all of you guys who love to chat, all right, because you can chat over there. You can respond to their articles in the comment section and stuff like that. So one of the best Eagles websites for sure. BLG, thank you, brother, for being here. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, if you sign in to an account, you get less ads. So incentive there to sign in and then
there you go.
Ads.
Sign in, make your account on bleedinggreennation.com.
Right.
Good stuff, BLG.
See
Thank you, brother.
Thanks, bud.
There's BLG.
Oh, I should correct myself, and I should have known this. The Green Bay Packers are number one, as they should be.
Rams are 2, right?
Rams are 2.
I think Rams are number 1 in offense.
They're number 1 in passing offense, and they're number 1 in total offense as well, mainly because of the passing, though.
Right, mainly because of the passing.
So, and it's very early, obviously. I don't get the sense, like, I'm very upfront. I think Green Bay is really good. I get the sense that that's not changing, barring catastrophic injuries. I don't get that sense that the Rams are at that level.
No, I mean,
but they're a good team. They're a good team.
They do maybe have the potential to be, John. They got a good defensive line. Those second-year players look like they're off to another good start. They have obviously the weapons in the passing game that they need. They have Kyron Williams, who's a solid back, not crazy great, but I mean he's a solid back, Kyron Williams. So I think they have the pieces they need. But I'm with you. I don't see that type.
Well, one thing I like Kyron Williams as a player. He's not Saquon Barkley, but he's a good running back. He's a good pass protector, but he puts the ball on the ground. And he did it twice against the Eagles last year. He did it out there, and he did it in the playoffs. And that's the Eagles' formula for winning, basically. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts it on the ground again. And to BLG's point, the main problem, though, is they can't stop the run until they prove it. And I assume Nate Landman is better than Christian Roseboom. Poona Ford's going to help a little bit, but until they prove it.
How do they grade it out against the run so far this year?
Let's see.
They played the Texans and the Titans. So not a perfect look, but
16th, so dead middle, which for them is an improvement. But I mean, Houston, maybe one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Tennessee, one of the worst teams in the NFL. So I don't think they've been tested. And to only be 16 against those two teams probably indicates you're not that good at that particular aspect of it.
Yep, no doubt about it. Johnny Mac, what's on the agenda today for the Birds, brother, before we let you run?
Yeah, Nick's going to talk about noonish. I forget the exact time, but
he's not going
to say anything. And practices at 3:05ish. And then open locker room. Jalen Hurts will talk today. Late 4:45ish. Wednesday, regular season, Sunday game. Long day. Long day.
Yep, no doubt. Johnny Mac, good stuff, brother. Appreciate you doing it on Birds 365 today. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Thursday edition of the show. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, J-Mac. There's Johnny Mac. John McMullen joining us right here on Birds 365. You can follow him at JF McMullen. Great stuff. I got some stuff to talk about on Zander time today. We got some stuff to talk about on Zander time today. All right. I think that this team needs to allow Jalen Hurts to be Jalen Hurts. I don't know why it seems to me that they no longer trust Jalen Hurts. They don't even want to give him the fucking ball. They don't even want to let him do anything in the passing game. And I got some data and some statistics to talk about and to prove it to you guys. All right. Because I know a lot of people Hey, Pop, all the people in here who are mad at me for talking about it. Oh, my God, you can't talk about it. We're 2-0, Zander. Shut up. We also have the best offensive roster in all of football, and it's not particularly close, okay? It's not particularly close. I think we could be a little bit more high-powered than what we've done so far, okay? I think we could be a little bit more high-powered than what we've done so far. But we're going to take a look at it. We're actually going to look at Jalen Hurts through the years and what the statistics and what the numbers bear out to be. And I'm not just talking about, hey, he threw for this many yards in this many years. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they don't trust him throwing the ball. Why? Why? I don't get it. I do not get it. This reductionist mindset to do not throw the ball downfield because the possibility of a turnover happening. It's like don't get in your car because you might get into an accident. Don't walk outside because you might trip on the sidewalk and crack your skull. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand what they're trying to do. 5.9 yards right now is their average depth of target through 2 games. It's by far the lowest in Jalen Hurts' career. It's actually not even close to where he's been in his career. So they're not pushing the ball downfield. They're not trying to push the ball downfield. They don't want to push the ball downfield. I don't know why. And I don't think it's crazy to expect a little bit more from this offense. I'm sorry, but I just don't. All right. I don't think we should be graded at the bottom of the league offensively when we have superstar caliber players at damn near every single position. I don't get it. All right. I really don't get it. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We'll do a giveaway today as well on Zander Time. Anybody who becomes a member on the website, a Legend member, will get a free t-shirt today. I got like 9 or 10 Eagles shirts left to give away. I already sent one out. My boy Mike Berghorst. Mike, if you're listening, thank you, brother. I packaged up your shirt. I'm going to go and ship it after the show today. So we're going to talk about that. We'll do a giveaway as well. And appreciate all the great people for being here this morning. I didn't get to all of our super chats, which I apologize on Johnny Mac. But, ZZZ, I think you're right. I think you're right. I know people are going to give you a hard time because, people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to acknowledge that it's a thing. It's just, okay, we won, so you can't say shit. But ZZ, I'm kind of with you. Let's go to some more super chats here real quick. Amwan, what's up, brother? Sorry I didn't get these for Johnny Mac, everybody. It's not ugly. It's boring and straight fundamentals. Very old school. Greg Popovich, San Antonio Spurs. I don't know, man. I don't even know if it's that. I hear you. I think it's a fair comp, but dude, you have AJ Brown and Devon. Like that team had Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. They did not let Manu Ginobili shoot the 3 because there was a less chance he made the basket. Like they don't even. AJ Brown has 35 yards in 2 games. 2 games. AJ fucking Brown. Sorry, I'm trying to not curse on the shows, but AJ Brown, 35 yards in 2 games. It's not even the Greg Popovich Spurs. It's not. I'm not saying there's animosity between the two. I'm saying they have, again, I keep using this word. They have reduced the offense with this reductionist mindset. All right. With this reductionist mindset, don't even try and push the ball downfield because the possibility of a turnover increases. Bullshit. Bullshit. It also makes you a more versatile, powerful offense. It's like this arc of like when you can pass the ball downfield, you increase your margin for error, but like this. Now, yes, you could have a turnover that could drop it, but you're just going to not do it? Let's look at some numbers here, guys. Let's look at some numbers here. All right. Looking at 2025, only 2 games. All right. Only 2025, only 2 games. So again, it's a small sample size. Let's see how it continues to develop. All right. I do want to preface it with that. We will talk about it, but we will also put in the context. It's 2 games. They're 2-0. All right. Everything is going well. All right. I'd rather correct these problems at 2-0 than be 0-2 here. All right. 2 games. Jalen Hurts' completion percentage is 75.6. That would be the high in his career. His yards per attempt, as I pointed out earlier, yards per attempt, 5.6. Last year it was 8. Okay. Last year it was 8. He has 0 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions. All right. 3 rushing touchdowns so far this year. So the key number there is the yards per attempt. If you go back and look at kind of his career, 2020, he had 4 starts in that year. All right. Only a 52% completion percentage in those 4 starts, 7.2 yards per attempt. 2021, when he got a little bit better, his first full year as a starter, 7.3 yards per attempt. 2022, a damn near MVP campaign for Jalen Hurts. Okay, A.J. Brown had 1,500 yards in that year, or 1,450 or whatever it was. His first year as an Eagle receiver. 8 yards per attempt there for Jalen Hurts. 22 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions, 13 rushing touchdowns, and a 66.5% completion percentage. That, to me, is the ideal numbers for Jalen Hurts. 3,700 passing yards, 22 touchdowns to 6 picks, 67% completion percentage, and he's 8% or 8 yards per target. I think that's yards per attempt. I think that's a great sweet spot. 23, all right, the year where we collapsed. 7.2 yards per attempt, 23 passing touchdowns to 15 picks, so slightly higher on the interception and the turnover rate, a 65% completion percentage. Last year, 24, the Super Bowl offense, all right? Lesser attempts, obviously, a 68.7% completion percentage, 8 yards per attempt, tied with his high in 22. So 24 and 22, the 2 Super Bowl years had the same yards per attempt, 8 yards per attempt, 18 touchdowns to 5 picks with 14 rushing touchdowns last year. Okay. So those are the sweet spot. Now you come in 2 games this year, and that completion percentage is way up, 75.6%, but 5.6 yards per attempt. 5.6 yards per attempt. Way low. They're barely pushing it downfield at all. Barely pushing it downfield at all. Okay. So, again, there's a lot of different things we can look at. We can break down the RPOs, the play actions, the bootlegs, all those different things. They're not using them very much. They obviously used it a bunch in 22. They've completely gone away from that. I don't know why. I think they should maybe bring some of that back. Jalen's obviously a quarterback that thrives outside the pocket. He thrives on the move. He thrives in that environment. I think they should bring some of it back, but they don't seem to want to do that. All right. In 2025 so far, Hurts' average depth of target is very low, 5.9, as we just talked about. It's the lowest in the league. Ready for this, guys? This is the key stat. When you say, 5.9, it's not that bad. It's not that much lower than 8 last year. Ready for this? He is 33rd among 34 quarterbacks that have at least 20 dropbacks this season. 33rd out of 34 quarterbacks that have at least 20 dropbacks through 2 games this year. He is lower than the 32 starters in average depth of target. He is pushing the ball lower and less than any other starting quarterback in football. I mean, seriously, is that the offense that we think we should have with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith? Dank, I agree with this. I mean, there's definitely room for improvement. I think that's the positive, is that we're 2-0 and we're looking at this. But to me, Dank, it almost seems like they don't want Jalen to do it. They don't even want to put him in a position to utilize AJ and Devontae, because if you throw the ball downfield, you might have more turnovers. That's what it feels like to me. Now, again, maybe I'm the Eagle curmudgeon right now. Maybe all of you think I'm an asshole. Maybe I'll get ripped on social media or on YouTube right now for not enjoying the wins as they come. Maybe. But forgive me if I believe that with this offense, with this caliber of players, with this talent, it feels like we should be better. Forgive me if I think that. All right. Obviously, I'm happy with the wins. I don't think it's entirely a Jalen Hurts problem. I know some people do. I don't think it's entirely a Jalen Hurts problem. All right. But I mean, I think the early signs of the passing game here is it's being entirely compressed. You know, they're asking him to throw way less deep, you know, very high shotgun pistol. Under center is used only for runs. I mean, very low average depth of target. Explosive plays seem extremely rare. Deep passing is absent with 2 plays, guys. He had one play in week 1 to Jahan Dotson and one 28-yard play to Devontae Smith. It doesn't feel like that's the way we should approach the game. It doesn't. You know? So I don't know if they don't trust him. I don't know if they believe that this very low risk offense is their best way to win. Perhaps that's it. And perhaps it has nothing to do with the quarterback, but I'm taking from this, they don't trust him to throw anymore. All right. Low depth of target, the lowest it's in his career. Very few explosive pass plays. All right. Under center pass plays non-existent, which is kind of a constant. It hurts his career. He hasn't been an under center, play action quarterback, which I understand. I think they could use it a little bit more, but they don't. I mean, the other thing is the formation predictability in the game. Somebody put this out on social media. I don't have the numbers right in front of me right now, but the formation predictability here. Somebody put it out. Whenever they run a certain formation, you know what they're going to call. Which I don't think it's great. All right. No vertical pass plays. I don't know. Again, I don't want to be the guy who's up here at 2-0 crying about the Eagles. All right, I get it. I know a lot of people in here don't want to have these conversations, but part of the reason that I think JAKIB Sports is such a great, place to talk about football is because we give real context. We talk about real things. We talk about real depth of the game that helps you learn more and be better as a fan and know what you're watching when you're looking at it. Know what you're watching when you're looking at the game. And a lot of people will say, hey, we're 2-0. Who cares about any of that stuff? It's all stats. Yeah, I guess. We got talented players, man. We have way talented players. Way more talented players than they're using. Dank says, why is it trust? Maybe it's figuring out what works and adjusting as the season goes on. Well, maybe you're right, Dank. All right. Maybe. Trent says, these conversations are fine. I lean more positive. Well, Trent, I'm with you. I'm not trying to be the doom and gloom guy. And I'm not, to be honest, man. I feel pretty good about the team right now. I just don't think this reduction mindset to do not push the ball down the field because you might turn the football over. I don't think that's a healthy way to go about it. I really don't. I mean, you have to take some chances in life. You have to take some chances in football. You have to rely on the talent that you have, the talent that you pay money to, the talent that you've acquired because you presumably believe in that talent, and you have to let them play football. Let them do what they do. If you have some turnovers here and there, okay. I mean, you're going to have to live with that a little bit. Denise says there's nothing to figure out. The Eagles organization knows what they're doing. It's not pretty to fans and talking heads, and they don't care. Yeah, but it's not about not being pretty, Denise. Denise, answer me this, all right? Answer me this, and I appreciate your comment because, I understand the people who view it like this. All right, I do. We're squeaking by teams right now with this offense, the way we're running right now. So much to the point that, yes, if we did have one turnover, we'd be fucked. Now, I don't know about you, but that's walking a thin line. That's like walking a tightrope, hoping you don't fall off. All right? That's like walking a tightrope, hoping you don't fall off. Meanwhile, we have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, the best O-line in football, Saquon fucking Barkley, the best running game in football. We have everything an offense could want. You literally could not improve this offense from a personnel standpoint because it's already too good. There's nowhere to improve on the offense. The offensive line is the best in football. The running back is the best in football. The 2 wide receivers are 2 top 5, top 10 receivers in football. You can't even improve it from a personnel standpoint. And we're supposed to just be squeaking by the Chiefs because, we have 94 net yards of passing because they don't want to turn the ball over? Like, that doesn't feel like the right way to win games. It doesn't. Now, hey, maybe I'm wrong. All right. I don't know. I understand. Look, I'm open to all the conversation. I really am. I'm not trying to say I'm right, and I'm not trying to say everybody else is right. I'm trying to have the conversation, give the proper context to what we're looking at, and, come up with a real, a thought process that makes sense. I think it's logical to want to improve. All right. I think it's practical to say we can be better as an offense. All right. Where I'm not going to go to the other side of it is doom and gloom at 2-0. I'm not going doom and gloom. All right. The team has the whole season in front of them. The defense is way ahead of schedule right now. They are 2-0. They haven't turned the football over at all. They're playing good football. I get it. There's a lot of positive here, and I'm not trying to discard that or throw that out the window. But I am trying to figure out why you pay a quarterback $52 million, and then the only job you give him is, throw the ball 5 yards downfield only, 2 passing plays deep in 2 games, all right? And just, Jalen, please, I'm paying you $50 million. All you got to do is just don't turn it over, buddy. Please, just don't throw the ball downfield. And now you got a quarterback who's gun-shy, Denise, in the pocket because it's been beaten into his head. If you turn the ball over, we're going to lose the football game. So he has a small window, which they're all small in the NFL, to get the ball to A.J. Brown, to get the ball to Devontae Smith downfield. And he won't pull the trigger because they've beaten it to a pulp. You can't turn the football over. It's like they got him in chains. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why we build an offense. I think the offense, I think there's a world that exists where this offense can hum to a higher level, all right, and be more versatile and be able to win different ways. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm the curmudgeon today. Maybe I am. But maybe I am. Pete says Zander, or Jose says, Zander, please. You're acting like Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl, overlooking things in 2 games. Jose, maybe you're right. All right. Maybe you're right. Dion says, fact of the matter is Jalen Hurts doesn't trust his reads. Why? Why doesn't he trust his reads, Dion? Because you're not allowed to turn the ball over. Don't even try and throw the ball. Newsflash, if you throw a football in the NFL, there's an opportunity for it to get turned over. The ball could get deflected. Travis Kelce could drop the ball. It could bounce off his hands and go right into Andrew McCoop. All of those things exist. They're a part of the game. If you spend your whole season tiptoeing around the inevitable opportunity that the ball could be turned over, you're just never going to have a high-powered offense. And by the way, I think it's part of the reason that Saquon Barkley has his lowest yards per run right now, 3.7 or whatever it is. He was 6.5 last year, or almost 6. At least, again, last year I gave you the stat. They might not have thrown the ball that much, but 8 yards per attempt. I mean, the threat was there. Boy, if we overcommit, look at the Super Bowl. Stack the box. Take away Saquon. That's fine. No worries. Devontae Smith dagger. Jahan Dotson down to the goal line. Dallas Goedert for 25 yards. Like, we've taken that threat out of our offense so far. It's not there. It's not there. It's not there, and it's hurting Saquon Barkley. It's hurting the offensive line, and most importantly, it's hurting your quarterback who's now playing gun-shy. I don't think you want a quarterback playing gun-shy. I'm sorry, I don't. I know people are like, oh, we're 2-0, and we don't turn the ball over and we win. Okay, that's fine. But you have a quarterback who's playing gun-shy because of it. You want that? I don't think that's good long-term. I'm sorry, but I don't. All right, I don't. Chester says, I know it's only 2 weeks in, but this offense looks pathetic. The offensive coordinator is trying to protect himself. The offensive coordinator has been a joke. I know John doesn't want to put it on him at all, but it's been an abject disaster. In week 1, Jalen Hurts had to literally put the entire offense on his back, run for first downs, figure out what to do in any circumstance because nobody was open. Nobody was moving the ball downfield. It was all on Jalen Hurts. It was all on Jalen Hurts. And week 2, they're lucky the Chiefs had nobody on offense. because they couldn't move the ball for shit. Vic Fangio was bringing the house like he was Steve Spagnuolo, which you never see, which shows you how much they didn't believe in the Chiefs offense. See, Dank says, okay, Jalen's not good. I don't think it's that at all. I know some people do think it's that. I have seen Jalen operate, throwing the ball downfield effectively, dominating. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. You can type things in this chat. You can't lie to what my eyeballs have seen. I have watched with my own 2 eyes Jalen Hurts throw the ball and crush teams by moving the ball downfield, getting A.J. Brown involved, getting Devontae Smith involved. I've seen it. I'm not saying, I know, Dank, you're not coming at me. I'm just answering it because it's good context. I've seen it. Now it's just like, don't do it. What if we have a turnover? Don't do it. I don't live my life that way. I would assume most people don't live their life that way. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that goofy ass movie. What's that goofy ass movie back in the day? What's that goofy ass movie back in the day? It's a weird ass movie. Not my type of movie, but I remember I used to watch it when I would carpool with kids to hockey, and they would turn on that goofy ass shit. And the dude's afraid of the sun, so he hides in the closet. It's this goofy softball movie or whatever it is. Anybody know the name of this movie where some dude hides in the closet because he's afraid of the sun and he like eats sunscreen? Anybody know what movie I'm talking about? Benchwarmers. Thank you, Izzy B. That's what it is. That's what it reminds me of. They play scared. Oh, we can't turn the ball over. Don't go out in the sun. Don't throw the football. God forbid we throw the football because there's an opportunity for a pick. Stupid. I mean, come on, man. Come on. We're afraid of our own shadow. With the best offensive personnel in all of football, we're afraid of our own shadow. Afraid of our own shadow. Deshay says, what? I never heard of that shit. Deshay, don't seek it out. It's one of the worst movies you'll ever see. All right? It's one of the worst movies you'll ever see. No need to seek it out. But it reminded me of you know, when I was a kid, and God bless my father, who I love dearly. You know, if there was ever a situation, all right, where I didn't have confidence, and this is, I believe me, God's honest, this is such a good life lesson for me. Growing up, this was when I was really young. My dad used to go, boo, boo, boo. What are you afraid? Boo. If you fucking sit there and let life treat you, you know, slap you around, you're going to get slapped around. Have some confidence. Stop spooking people. It drives me fucking crazy that a quarterback that won the MVP in a Super Bowl, not from Saquon Barkley, from throwing the ball in the air, okay, from using his talents, won a Super Bowl, got an MVP in it, and the only thing that we want to say is, let's not try and get him to use that talent better. Let's just don't throw the ball downfield. Unless you have a busted coverage, don't throw the ball downfield. Just made that it's not a good way to go about it. Again, maybe I'm fucking wrong. Maybe I'll be eating my crow and I'll be on a parade float on Broad Street in 6 months from now. Hey, maybe I will be. And believe me, I'll be happy to be there. Believe me, I'll be happy to be there. But I do not understand why we have reduced this offense with this amount of talent. Like, guys, we're not the Kansas City Chiefs. We're not throwing the ball to Tyquan Thornton. If we had those weapons, I'd be like, yeah, it's a good idea. Keep mistakes to a minimum. Beat them with your defense. Beat them with your running game. And win football games and get to the next week. If we had that type of talent, I would say, agreed. Agreed. We have the best offensive personnel in football. It's not close. It's not close. It's not even close. Find me another team that has personnel like this. They don't. Nope, nobody does. Teams might have great wide receivers. They don't have the offensive line. Team might have a great running back. They're lacking it in wide receivers. We have Everything. Everything. Let your nuts hang. Impose your will. Come on, man. Let your fucking balls drop, Nick. Come on, Nick. Let's get to some super chats. I'm fired up. Brian Pumper says, I miss Tanner. I don't miss Tanner. I miss allowing our quarterback that we have that's proven beyond the benefit of the doubt, all right, that he can play, that he can deliver the goods, that he can deliver the football, that he can do what we need to be one of the most successful teams in football as we have been since he took the helm. That's what I miss. We neutered him. Get in the closet, get afraid of the sun, and do what we tell you. Hand the ball off, and when plays break down, use your legs to pick up 5 yards and a first down. That's what we've become on offense. Here's Brian Fleming. That's where I got the word neutering. Thanks, Brian. Neutering Jalen is not only dumb, but it's hypocritical at times because they have no problem having him throw vertical go balls. Yeah, and they've even lessened those because defense has picked up on that's the only thing they're doing. But that's not the only thing Jalen's capable of. And I'm not buying that. I'm not buying into that dumbass narrative either. Oh, Jalen can only throw the vertical go ball. Bullshit. Bull freaking shit. Every time there's a narrative against Jalen Hurts, at some point or another, whether it's as consistent as Brian Pumper and underdog like or not, he comes out and shows you it's not a real narrative. You can't throw to the middle of the field. One day he comes out, he throws all over the middle of the field. He can't throw the ball. Pittsburgh, he comes out, he throws for 290 yards and 3 touchdowns. You want to he can only win because of Saquon Barkley. How about 22 when he was an MVP candidate and went to the Super Bowl? How about the Super Bowl when Spags, loaded the box and took away Saquon and he beat you through the air? Every time there's a narrative on Jalen Hurts, he proves it wrong. And it's almost like his own coaches, his own team, his own front office shuts their eyes to it. People get mad at me. Oh, we're winning. Dude, get mad at the front office. They don't even want to give him the opportunity. They don't even think he's earned the right to make those decisions himself. Here's Brian Pump. Here's the key. A lot of delusional people in this fan base want Jalen Hurts to be in the top 5 convo, but they don't hold him to the top 5 standards. Yeah, but they're not. Brian Pumper, they're not running an offense right now that would even allow Jalen Hurts to be in the top 5 conversation, to be held to that standard. Don't push the ball downfield. Don't turn the football over. They've neutered him. It's the perfect word. They've 0 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions, and we're 2-0. That's what they want. They don't even want him to be a difference maker in the game. They've taken it completely out of his hands. When again, some people in this chat, I'm sure, will say, well, it's because Jalen's not good enough. Bullshit. Jalen Hurts was in the MVP conversation, and we went to a Super Bowl. We were one holding call away from winning the Super Bowl. What were Jalen's stats in that Super Bowl? And I'm not a stat merchant. I'm not trying to be a stat. I just want Jalen to play free again. I want him to play like he has belief in his guys and himself and what the offense is capable of. Not reducing it down to, okay, we'll make the least amount of plays possible, and as long as we win the game by 3 points, we're good. Dude, you got the best offense in football. Dominate. Do what you can to reach your potential. You're going to fall short. Obviously, shoot for the moon, land on the stars. Oh, man. ZZ checks in. Steichen had him at an MVP frontrunner until he missed 2 games. How do you go from that to getting babysat by your coach and offensive coordinators? He's literally on a leash. ZZ says exactly what I've been saying on this Zander time. All right. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I don't know. I know it's only 2 games, guys. All right. I know it's only 2 games. All right. I'll take a couple more comments, see what you guys think. I'm done rambling. I've been rambling for 30 minutes. Dirty Air says, Thanks, 30 Air, for the super chat, brother. We need our wide receivers to be comfortable when it's time, so it isn't exactly the best approach, but I think that's what's happening. Well, let me see. I think all right, you sent one first. Let me read this one first. Dirty Air says, the more you show now, the longer other teams have to account for what you're doing. It's the Sirianni way. Don't show too much, knowing you can bust it out when needed. But we need our wide receivers to be comfortable when it's time, so it isn't exactly the best approach, but I think that's what's happening. Well, maybe. If that is what's happening, then I live my entire life with a different philosophy than that. All right? I live my entire life with a different philosophy than that. Here's Kimberly. This offense looks like Kimberly says, this offense looks like a dog's ass. Damn, dogs all over the world are catching strays right now. All right. Philly says Sills is polluting he has nothing to do with this take, my friend. Zero to do with this take. 4 for 4. This is an Eagles fan talking to you about being happy that we have the best offense I've ever seen in my life when it comes to personnel, talent, and players. And instead of using that, instead of saying, what a golden opportunity this is, if we can turn this thing into a high-powered machine, nobody will fucking touch us, especially with Vic Fangio on the other side. That's where this comes from. This has zero to do with Sills. So don't give me that. Well, now, anytime anybody has a question on the Eagles, it's Sills polluting the mind. Dude, it sounds like you're polluted. All right, 4 for 4. It sounds like you're polluted. Here's Denise, my girl Denise. She says, Eagles are going to turn up and you'll have egg on your face. Denise, honest to God, Denise, there is nothing I want more than to have egg on my face with this. Because that means the Eagles will have let their nuts hang, as I said. Let the nuts hang. Boo! I'm going to start using the same thing. Boo! Yo, Nick! Boo! Defense is coming for you. Boo! What, are you scared? Come on, man. Denise, I hope you're right. I want you to be right, Denise. I want you to be right. I do, because that means they'll have let the offense become what this offense is capable of. Not some reductionist bullshit that just does enough to get by each week. That's like, think about that mindset in life. Think about if I came on this show and was just like, all I want to do is enough to get by. I wouldn't be here right now. I would have ended the show at 9:59 and 59 seconds. See you tomorrow, everybody. Who approaches life like that? Oh, let me do just enough to get by. Just enough. That's all I want to do. I have no desires for more than that in life. I have no desires to fulfill anything more than just enough. I don't like that. I'm sorry. That's just not me. That's just not. I don't like that. Here's John. Hurts isn't good enough to overcome his own turnovers and bring his team back like other quarterbacks that can do it. So they limit him to reduce those chances. I'm calling bullshit on that. John, I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that for a second. Fly Eagles Fly says, I agree. I feel like I'm a girl and I have a bigger flipping balls. Are you kidding me? Fly Eagles Fly, nuts are hanging. She's calling on Nick. Hey, Nick, let them balls drop, Nick. Come on, man. Fly Eagles Fly, I feel like I'm a girl and I have bigger flipping balls. It's maddening with the talent we have. Let it flip and fly. I couldn't agree more. All right. Jose says, Zander, you're just a rambler. Okay, Jose. I never even seen you here, dude. Get out of here if you don't like it. Here's Dirty Air. Dirty Air says, Chris Jones' comments to Jalen show that other teams think we can't do it. I'm telling you, Nick is a weirdo with competitive advantage mindset. Yeah, well, it's a stupid mindset. All right. Here's Brian Pump. I know the Jalen Hurts Colt members want us to forget 23 when he turned the ball over 23 times, but it happened. Handcuffs were a direct result. Yeah, but that's the outlier. That's not the norm. I'll pull it up for you right now. All right. Interceptions by year. 21, he had 9. 22, he had 6. 23, he had 15. 24, he had 5. 2020, he had 4 early. 15 is the only outlier there. 23 was the outlier. To let the outlier become the norm is in my opinion stupid. All right. ZZ says this needs to be on TikTok Live and Twitch, bro. I'm on Twitch, but I don't really use it. I just use it for backup. How do I get on TikTok Live? I think TikTok Live would love this shit. All right. How do I get it on there, ZZZ? Who wants to help me get it on there? Who wants to get it on there? Here's Pump. He says, not the norm. Jalen has had one great season and one bad season. The other seasons were mid, Zander. Come on now. Yeah, I don't agree. 22, he was in the MVP conversation. And that offense, I mean, that thing is so far gone. You know, for all the people, and I'm kind of with John on this in terms of, you know, it looks similar. It is completely different. Like they don't run RPOs. When is the last RPO you saw Jalen Hurts run? When is the last time you saw Jalen Hurts with full autonomy to call an RPO and make a decision about whether to run or whether to pass based on what the defense does? They don't do it. They don't do it. Straight jacket, it's 100% true. It's a straight jacket for Jalen Hurts. Now, look, the positive here is that we have Jalen Hurts, who's capable of winning this way, and is all he cares about is winning. So he's allowed this, in a way, has allowed this to happen and has used it to, you know, be able to find ways to win. But anybody that believes that we should be beating teams like the Chiefs without any receivers by 3 points because the offense just, you know, takes 0 shots downfield. 0 shots downfield. You had a team that blitzed on 15 of 25 dropbacks. All right. The highest in Spags is, I forget what the stat was, one of the higher blitz percentages across the league. And you took 1 shot downfield. One with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm sorry for rambling. It's a 40-minute Zander time, and we've talked about one subject, but Master Eagle says we need a fearless offensive coordinator, Big Z. We do. I like that word, fearless. Fearless. You got the talent. Use it. Come on, man. Let's go. Just like I would tell all of you, are you living up to your potential? Am I living up to my potential? No, probably not. I probably could be doing more, could be doing better, as we all could. That's part of life. But at the very least, we're going to strive for it. At the very least, we're going to analyze it and push for it and hope to achieve it and continue to try and do the things day in and day out to reach our best form. The Eagles are just like, we can minimize this down to doing the least amount possible. And as long as we don't turn the ball over, we'll squeak out some wins. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I think it could be better. Izzy says, I want the offense to look better, but until we have a problem losing, I think I'm going to ride this one. I think that's fair, Izzy B. I'm probably overreacting a little bit early in the season, and that's okay. I'm fine to admit that I'm overreacting. But, you know, there was that quote that Jalen had last year. What was that quote that Jalen had last year? What was the quote that Jalen had last year? About, you know, the problem's not a problem until it comes, or whatever it was, something like that. Anybody remember what that Jalen Hurts quote was last year? Yeah, Dirty Hair, which one? He's got a lot of them. The one about the problem where it could bite you in the ass, you know, once it bite. Yeah, you don't know until it comes and bites you in the ass or something. Get him out of the straitjacket. Come on. I'm not talking about the straitjacket comment. I'm talking about the Jalen Hurts quote on. Let me find this comment. Yeah, I can't find it. Emre says siliofication. This is not siliofication. Such a dumb comment, Emre. Dio says, what if this is how Jalen wants to play? Well, maybe you're right, man. Maybe you're right. Maybe Jalen does want to play like this. Maybe Jalen does want to play like this. Unsealed says overreaction Wednesday. Look, I've acknowledged I'm probably overreacting too early, but it bothers me that we have a team that's as good as this, and we have the potential to reach the heights that we have, and they're not even trying to uncover it. Again, I gave you the stat. Right now, Jalen Hurts' average depth of target. He's 33rd, not even in the top 32. 33rd out of 34 quarterbacks that have more than 20 snaps of football this year. 33rd. That's how little they're trying to push the ball downfield. That's how little. And mind you, we're not throwing to Tyquan Thornton. We're not throwing to Britton Covey. Sorry for Britton Covey for catching a stray this morning. We're throwing to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Rizzy says, keep the main thing the main. Look, you're right. Underdog says, Jalen Hurts works his ass off. You're no doubt. That's my favorite part about him. All right. I take a lot of that into my own life. He'll show flashes. It won't be consistency. Underdog, they're not. But here's the thing, Underdog, and I understand where you're coming from because I know you're not the biggest Jalen Hurts fan in the world. But, dude, they don't even give him the chance. Underdog, like imagine a world if they put him in position, all right, to be consistent. And even if he wasn't, even if he had to go through the failures, even if he had to go through the trials and tribulations of learning how to play that way, they haven't even given him that opportunity. They don't even allow him to try and learn and work through that process like every other quarterback in the league, by the way, does. How many times has there been periods where Josh Allen looked like shit or Joe Burrow couldn't figure it out or had a bunch of turnovers in a couple of weeks spent? It's universal. There's a learning curve in being an NFL quarterback. And the learning curves, by the way, never go away. Ask Tom Brady, who went on a 10-year hiatus before he won his next Super Bowl. Won 10 years later. Still hasn't won another one. You think Tom Brady didn't have any learning to do in that period after having 3 Super Bowls on his mantle, let alone 1? Learning curves never end. But if you don't put yourself in a position to learn, you're never going to get there. That's my problem with it. They're not even shooting to be better. They're shooting for the minimalist approach, the bare minimum. Just don't turn it over. Like, I don't know. Shantia says, Jalen would not get the same grace given another quarterback. Well, I would find that to be total bullshit, Shantia, if that happened. Now, you're right, because this is Philadelphia. But get in line. I mean, everybody gets. Look at Kevin Patullo right now. Is he getting grace? Nobody gets grace. He's not. Shantia, he's 2-0 and he's not getting the grace. Like, pick your poison. Either way, it's poison. All right? Either way, it's poison. Let him learn. Let him grow. Let him improve. Let him have the opportunity to get this offense to what the potential is. Brian Pumper said, here's the biggest issue. Hurts is losing his wide receivers, man. AJ and Devontae are now slacking on routes because they're just doing cardio at this point. See, I hate to say this, but I kind of agree with Pumper. If you turn on the tape and you watch some of those routes, those receivers aren't in the game. They're not. That's not the same AJ Brown. I know people don't want to admit that, but that doesn't look like the same. Shantia says, I get it, Zander. I'm just saying, I appreciate it, Shantia. I wasn't trying to bash you. I was just trying to make the point. Dio says, headed to eye doctor. What if Jalen wants to play? So I got your comment. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Maybe he does, man. Maybe he does. 83 Rainy Boy, member for 12 months. Thank you, bro. I'm doing the giveaway in a second here. Sorry, guys. We don't have Shane for the RPO offense to be ran. And I don't think you need Shane for that. All right. I don't think you need Shane for that. I don't. But I digress. All right, everybody, let's move on. Good conversation. Good conversation about the offense. All right. Good conversation. Again, I'm not trying to be the doom and gloom guy. Look, I'm happy that we're 2-0. I'm happy that we have everything out in front of us. I still feel like we're the best team in football. All right, until somebody proves to me otherwise. But it is weighing on me that I think they've reduced this thing down, and it pisses me off for the players on offense. But Jose, quit crying, Jose. Jose, you don't like it? Go somewhere else. Nobody's begging you to be here, big dog. There are plenty of other channels you can go watch some content on, my friend. I ain't begging you to be here. All right, let me pull our list for our giveaway. All right, we're doing a giveaway. We got no new members today, which is a bit sad, but I do have a Cooper DeJean jersey. All right, I'm getting more. I told you I'm getting Thursday is my jersey pickup. So I'm getting 12 Kelly Green stitched jerseys tomorrow. Okay. I'm getting 12 Kelly Green stitched jerseys that will add to the giveaway chamber. Okay. We'll add to the giveaway chamber. Okay. Dion says, I wear a 2X. Dion, look what this is. 2X. Now, the thing I do though, if somebody wins a jersey and I don't have the right size, I don't like sending. I want you to wear the jersey. I spend my money. These aren't given to me as a promotion from some company. I spend my money on the jerseys. So, if it's not your size, message me, and I'll make it happen for you. Okay, I'll make it. I tried. You can ask anybody. Last year, who won? I've always tried to make it happen to get you the right size jersey. All right. I don't like sending people jerseys. They're going to sit on the shelf and collect dust. Okay, so if you're not a 2X, let me know on my jersey pickup tomorrow. I'll get you the right size. All right. I know our guy last week, Master Eagle, needed a bigger size. I'm working on a bigger size for him. Okay, so I'm always going to try and do that. I do want to make that clear, though, because I love to do the giveaways. I love to do it. I love to give back to the great people that make this channel possible. But I don't want it to go. I don't want it to go and collect dust. Now, hey, if you want it for like a box or you want to frame it up, hey, that's cool too. Some people like the bigger jerseys for that. So yeah, Devin knows. It might take me a sec. It took me a little bit. It took me a couple weeks to get Devin's last year, maybe like a month. But I did get Devin the right size. All right. So just keep me posted on what size you like. Youth large. Rich, I can do that. My guys got youth sizes. All right. All right. That 2X has my name all over it. All right, brother. All right, Gates. Let's see if you get the W. All right, I'm pulling the names. I told you guys yesterday, anybody that becomes a member on the website, a legend member, Mike Berghorst was our first one yesterday in 956. So I got these Eagles shirts. All right. I've showed you them all before. The Super Bowl champ shirt. All right. I got the W shirt. This is the one they were wearing at the parade. Got the W. We got a Heather Gray Super Bowl champion shirt. All right. I got a gray. I actually love this gray one because on the back of the gray one is all 4 scores of the playoff games. All right. So I love the gray one. That's one. We got this one, Super Bowl champions with the Eagle helmet on there. I don't know if you can see that. All right. We got another Super Bowl shirt. All of them have the Super Bowl logo on there. All right. There's another gray one. There's another Heather Gray one. And here's another black one. Okay. Super Bowl champs, LIX. All right. So I got all those shirts. Anybody that becomes a member, a legend member on the website, okay, I'm giving you one of those shirts for free. So I'll just DM you. I'll get your number or your address. I got Mike's yesterday. Mike, I'm shipping yours out today. I already packaged it up. Send me your size. I think I have almost every size still. I don't have 3Xs. I have 2Xs. I got larges. I got medium. I got a couple mediums left. I have large, I have XL, 2XL, medium, 2X, XL, XL, and XL. So I still have a bunch of sizes. I don't have small anymore. Bird Gang Girl got our last couple small, and my girl Kirsten Carter. Kirsten got a small. All right. So anybody that becomes a legend. So I just got one. Thomas Gruber. Thomas, I'm gonna email you right now. Let me email Thomas. Legend shirt. Send your address and your shirt size. I'll ship it. All right. I'm shipping things quick right now. I'm back in giveaway flow. All right. So everybody's up to date. Basically, the only ones I still have are the winners we have this year because I got to get different sizes. All right. So Master Eagle, I got to get a different size. Tony and Dio, I know I have your giveaway still. I have to order boxes. I ordered boxes so I can, because the hats I can't put the hats in the envelope. It'll crush the hat. It's a nice ass hat. So I don't want to crush the hat. So I ordered boxes to put those in. So, it's a lot easier to put a shirt in a little envelope. I use these little envelopes and they can go right in there. Kenzo, the website's jakibsports.com. HTTPS jakibsports.com. All right. So anybody that becomes a legend member on the website, all right, is getting a free shirt. So that's kind of just something I'm doing to get rid of these shirts. I'm not going to do all of our giveaways will be more jerseys. I bought these last year or in the summer, I think, when they were on sale or something. I bought like 50 of them. Okay. I bought like 50 of them. So Thomas Gruber, I don't know what your name is in the chat, but I just emailed you back. Okay. I just emailed you. So I'll get you your shirt sent out once I get your address, and we'll do that. All right. So everybody can let me know when they become a member, if they become a member, and I'll send out this shirt immediately. I'm going to get more of these too. If you guys ever see a sale, all right, or like you see shirts like this on sale or whatever, send them to me and I'll order a bunch of them. All right. I do have a giveaway budget that I put toward, and your guys' memberships go right to it. So it's all dictated based on the memberships. If we keep getting memberships, I'm going to keep buying shit to give away. If we don't get memberships, we're not going to have many giveaways. Okay. Is there some on sale? So I'll buy some more. Thomas Gruber, there he is. I just emailed you, Thomas. Look for the email. Hopefully it's not going to spam. I was having a little bit of a spam issue recently, but let me know on that. All right. Let me know on that. You should have gotten the email. Okay. All right. We're going to do the giveaway. Let me write down my three winners real quick. Okay. Thomas Gruber, Mike Burkhorst. I already packed your shirt. I'm shipping yours today, Mike. And 956 Eagles got in yesterday. T-shirt. Mike, I think it was 2XL. All right. Let me just make sure I write everything down. All right. Zander, don't forget to I haven't been on Discord in a while. I don't know, for a couple weeks. All right, a couple weeks. I'll go on there. Leggings on sale. Rich, sounds like something you need, my friend. All right, sounds like something you need. All right, let me pull these member lists now. For anybody who's like, why does Zander wait till now to pull the members? I will explain to you. Okay. I wait until, because YouTube updates our memberships basically continuously. So anybody that was like gifted a membership or something, maybe they were gifted it at 10 a.m. a month ago, they fall off. So I pull them right before I do the giveaways. All right. So I'm pulling it at 11 a.m. or 10:57 a.m. right now on a Wednesday. All right. 10:57 a.m. on a Wednesday. Suplex City joined back up yesterday. Thank you, Suplex. Appreciate it, brother. All right. Right now we have 308 so on the YouTube, so you can tell a couple of the gifted memberships. We still have, of the 308 members on the YouTube channel, 26 of them are gifted. So if you're gifted and you drop off, you are out. All right. 282 of them are people that signed up. Okay. 282 of them are people that signed up. All right, Thomas, I got your email. I'll be sending out your shirt probably today, dude. Honestly, I'm cooking on this because if you let him, I'm giving away too much shit. If I let it stack up, I'll be cooked. That's what happened to me at the end of last year. I had too many and I got stacked up. All right. All right. I got the giveaway list now. Let me import it. September 17th, 10:57 a.m. All right, where's my sort? Organize, sort. Sort by current level. Beautiful. Here's all the JAKIB fans. Beautiful. All right, here we go. I think we've had over 30 people fall off since the last giveaway, right? Didn't we have like 340? How do I get rid of this now? Give me a sec. You guys need to give me 5 to 10 minutes at least. Okay, beautiful. Fans are in. All right, now getting the family members, JAKIB family members. Eagles better win. Smooth Monty, our most recent. Jim Adams and Anton are our most recent JAKIB family members. We got Devin Parker, Abe. Abe is our longest standing JAKIB family member. Thank you, Abe. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Abe. Appreciate it, dog. Okay, convert to text. All right, family members are in. Let's go to legend members. We will be continuing our legend giveaways still this year. Okay. I know we changed it to have different entries and stuff, which will still stand, but we will be doing legend only giveaways still as well. Okay. So we will still do some of them. So legends will get extra perks, no doubt about it. And I will also do some for family members as well. Okay. I got to get my jerseys in. I haven't gotten my jersey. I told you I'm getting 12 of them tomorrow night. So, all right, now let me pull from the website. Any new members on the website that have won a jersey? No, still no new members on the website. All right, still no new members on the website. By the way, I put up an article on there yesterday, actually, about Kevin Patullo, and I'm going to write an article about this passing game. I'm writing an article about this bullshit passing game, and they got the total straitjacket on Jalen Hurts, and I don't like it. Okay? I don't like it. All right? I don't like it at all. Members. Filter. All right, now I got my my members on the website. Oh, fuck. Jesus is king. Amen. Amen to that. All right, apply. All right, here we go. Legends on the site are Membership tier is legend. Okay, so Mike. All right, we got Gary. We're in. Gary, I should change your name to Dirty Air, shouldn't I? So it matches up. Although it's still the same amount of entries and shit. Still the same amount of entries. I'll change it though. Dirty Air. Brandon Howard, I got you in here. Okay, Mike Berghorst, I got you in here. I think Mike is now doubled up on both, which means Mike is going to be maxed out on the giveaway entries. Mike, thank you for your support, my friend. Zach Lambert. Zach, thanks for being a legend member on the website, brother. Appreciate it. You're maxed out. Russell Clement. Russell, that is shit. What's my boy? That's Lucius the Show. That's Lucius the Show. I'm going to put Lucius the Show so it matches your other name. Okay? Lucius the Show. Thank you, Lucius. Dio, Derek Epps. I'm going to put Dio so it matches. What is it? Mad Dio, right? Yeah, I got that. Okay, I'm putting Mad Dio. Jason A-Team. Got you in there. Josh B, I got you in there. Tyler Braswell, I got you in there. Dirty Air, Brandon Howard, JD3. Thanks all you guys for being members. TK Washington, adding you now. TK Washington. All right. I don't think I got that name exactly as it is on YouTube, but do you have any Philly Fanatic stuff? No, not really. Why the fuck would I have Philly Fanatic stuff? I think I dance around in my house in Philly Fanatic here. All right. What do you think I'm doing here? Dancing around in my Philly Fanatic gear? All right, let's go to Jacob family members. All right, we got Abe, Tony, Kimberly. All right, Fly Eagles Fly. Okay, Fly Eagles Fly is now off the fans on the website. She upgraded to the family on the website. You got Tyler Kavanaugh. Thank you, Tyler. Texas T. Thank you, Texas T. Here, Jacob merch is on the way. Mac is open. Added in. Devin Parker. Devin, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. And 956 Eagles. 956 Eagles. Well done. All right. Full list is pulled. Full list is pulled unless I'm missing somebody, and I am not. Okay, we're good. All right. You guys ready to rumble? I know you are. Don't get me with your witty remark. Oh, yeah, we're ready. We've been ready. You're taking forever. No, I'm going to cry. Cry to someone else. All right, updated list. Boom. All right, here we go. Now we're getting our right entry, our proper entries. We're getting the proper entries. Okay, let me take some comments here. Take away the narratives, and Caleb Williams is just Seneca Wallace with a nail tech on retainer. He stinks. I don't like the way that guy's built. You're a clown, Z Rich. Fuck you. Don't forget Philly Don's in there. Philly Don, you're in there, brother. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Zander, doing this purposely. Nick's idea. You think so, Denise? It's all Nick? I don't know. I think people give Nick too much credit. Jalen Hurts equals Tyrod Taylor. That's a stupid comment. Infamous Paco. I'm putting money on Smitty and AJ anytime touchdown. That's a bold one after what we've seen so far. All right. We need 5 new memberships today. I think we only got 2. Unfortunately. It's all right, though. I'll live. Abe is a family member. That's okay. All good. Xander, does your fiance work with Jacob Sports? No, she does not. Maybe one day, though. You got a lot of weirdos out here, I'll tell you that much. I'm good to be on camera, but got back to you, Big Z. Thank you, Thomas. I got it back, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Xander, does AJ get a touchdown this game? I'm going to say yes, because how many games are we going to go? It is going to spam. Zach, thanks for being a member over there, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah, it should warm up. It's because it's a new email. So I'm thinking that's what happened there. All right, here we go. I got the list. I got the done and dusted list with the proper amount of entries. Okay. I got the done and dusted list for the proper amount of entries. Now it's time to pull up the stupid picker. All right. Let's pull up the picker. All right. Let me log into this crappy ass account. All right. Random name. All right. We're doing a jersey. Right now I have the Cooper DeJean. I actually have a couple jerseys. Oh, wait. Did I put this shirt aside for somebody? Heck the hell, maybe I did. See, Brandon Howard, just to show you. Brandon Howard, are you still in here? Is Brandon Howard still in here? Yeah, emails need cooking. Emails need cooking. Underdog, I love this comment. If not for the birth of Christ, none of us would be here. If not for his sacrifice, God was going to wipe the planet clean. No football, no weed, no nothing. Underdog, well said, my man. Well said, my man. I love it. Is Brandon here? Yeah, Brandon, you will crack up at this. Your jersey is still perfectly packaged. Look, I got the Z note. You guys want to see the Z note? Let's read the Z note I wrote Brandon last year. Brandon, I still don't want to give this jersey to anybody but you. So I have it. This is not, and until we figure something out, Brandon, I'm not giving this to anybody but you. Here's the Z note. There's a Z note. Brandon, what an awesome addition to the channel you've been. Can't thank you enough for all your support. Enjoy this DeJean, Kelly, and Black and Kelly green jersey, and let's go get this Super Bowl. Go Birds. Let's go. We ended up going and getting the Super Bowl. All right. This is from last season. So there's the Z note I wrote for Brandon. It's an XL, and this thing is being saved for my boy Brandon until I figure out how to get this thing through customs, which really shouldn't be that much of an issue. Come on. But you're in Canada, dude. What do you want from me? You're in shitty Canada. So I still got my boy Brandon. All right. At Kelly Green. At Black and Kelly Cooper DeJean. I also have this one. This is the Saquon one. This is not the right size for who won it last week. So I still have the Saquon one. It has the Super Bowl patch on there. You can see it is stitched. Okay. So Saquon in regular green in the suit with the Super Bowl patch. Okay. With the Super Bowl patch. Brandon, are you coming to a game this year? Dude, you got to come. You got your passport ready? Z writes the notes with his foot. Yeah, I don't have the best handwriting, brother. I don't got the best handwriting. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Okay? You will appreciate it when you get it. All right, here we go. Let's go to the picker. Let's pull up the names. All right, we got it. 609. So we're a little bit down from entries, which is a good thing for you guys. And you can see anybody that's a legend member, they have more entries. CZs are legend. Zach Lambert has got 8 because he's a legend on the website. So it gets him 3 extra entries. Vulnerable Vitality is a legend. Kavanaugh is a family member on the website. Tyler Braswell is maxed out. He's a legend on both. You can see he's got 13 entries. TK Washington has 5. No, you have more than that. You have 5, and then you have 8. So TK Washington is maxed out as well. Okay, Texas T. Takeem, you can see how all the things go. Shady Westbrook, Seth Shifley, Sasha R., Rashid Mixon, Philly Fangirl. There's Philly Don, legend member. There's 5 entries for you, Philly Don. Okay, Mike Berghorst is maxed out with 13 entries. You can see them all there. So you guys see how it works. All right. You see how it works. Everybody's in there. CZ, I'm the legend on the website. Is that new? Oh, man, we got 2 new members. All right, I got to add him. CZ, thank you, brother. And Bud Scroggins. Okay, so I got to add two people to the list. All right, so CZ is now a legend on the site, and he's already a legend on YouTube. So CZ is up to 13 entries. Okay. All right, CZ, I put yours in. Who else we got? CZ, I'm also going to email you. You get a free shirt. All right, you get a free shirt. So I'll email you CZ. And Bud Scroggins becomes a fan on the website. So that's 2 entries there. All right, let me add him as well. Bud Scroggins will go to the top. Bud Scroggins is up to 3 entries because he's also a fan on the YouTube channel. All right, Bud Scroggins and Bud Scroggins 2 more times. All right, beautiful. Beautiful. So an extra shirt giveaway this morning and 2 extra entries added. 2 extra members added, excuse me. Let me go back here. Okay. All right. 618 we're up to now. All right. Makes sense. Wayne, what are you a member on? Are you a member on the, it's every $5 you spend a month is an entry basically. So if you're a fan, you're 1 entry. If you're a family member, you're 2 entries. If you're a legend member, you're 5 entries. And then if you're a member on the website, it gives you extra entries just because YouTube takes 50% of my cut on here. So I want people to be members on YouTube still. I'm not saying to run away. If you're a member here, that's fine. But if you become a member on the website, because more of that money comes directly to me, which I do use for the giveaways, you get extra entries that way. Okay, you get extra entries that way. All right, you guys ready to rock? Let's do this. Let's do this. Confirm. All right, Dewey, you do not have to be present for this one. All right, all the extra giveaways you got to be present for. This one, you don't have to be a present. Do I got both YouTube and website picks? You are 956 is down here probably. Where's 956? There you are, 956. So you're a family member on the site and a fan on here. Yep, you have 5 entries, 956. So there you are. You got 5 entries. Yeah, Wayne, you're good. You're in there, brother. You're in. All right, you're in. Okay, here we go. How many shuffles? 5 shuffles? 1 shuffle. 2 shuffles. 3 shuffles. 4 shuffles. And 5 shuffles. Here we go. 83. Ryan. There's little Ryan. Shane O'Mac. Pile driver. TK. Keith Braswell. Mac. Start. 10. 9. 8. Where's my drum roll? Kevin Camerunas. I don't know if I've ever seen that name in here in my life. Kevin Camerunas. Where are you, Kevin? Where are you, Kevin? So Kevin's got to get 24 hours. All right. Who is this guy? Why do I not even know him? You look up my member list. I love when you guys are like, who the fuck is this guy? Now, yeah, ZM. Normally I see everybody once. He must be a gifted. Is right. Mac is open. He must be a gifted. He don't even count. We don't know him. Hey, listen, if he's a member on this channel, I hate to break it to you, but he fucking counts. Now we're down to 20-something, Jason. I said the number earlier. 26 gifteds right now. 282 regulars. Okay. I might do another one. Although I got to give Kevin the time. I still got to give Kevin the time. As I said, you don't have to be present for these ones. This is like the equivalent of the Saquon jersey last year. All the extra jersey giveaways I do, which will be the majority of them, to be honest with you. All right. Which will be another one. All the extra jerseys I do, you have to be present to win. Okay? You have to be present to win. But for the default ones that get activated because of the defense giving up less than 20 points, which it doesn't look like they're ever going to give up more than 20 points. All right? You don't have to be here. So let me write down Kevin Camerounis. Okay? And I'll screenshot that. Okay. Save that sucker. And I will reach out to him any way I can. All right, let's redo this now. We're going to do one more. All right, we're going to do one more. And for the next one, we're going to do a jersey. Okay, we're going to do a jersey because I do have three still here. The one's for Brandon, so I got 2 here. And I'm getting 12 more tomorrow, so I'm going to have the jerseys tomorrow. You got to be present for this next one. Okay? You must be present to win on the next one. You must be present to win on the next one. Okay? It's going to make me redo all these. Paste it. Okay? Must be present to win. You must be present to win. Haven't had a jersey since Wentz. I got a funny thing to show you, Dion. Look what I found the other day. I joked with you guys about a jersey I had. This was one of the only jerseys. I'm not a jersey guy. I've never been a jersey guy. All right. I've never been a jersey guy. Look at this. This is a Wentz Pro Bowl jersey, baby. Wentz Pro Bowl jersey. All right. Wentz Pro Bowl. Yeah. Should I give that away too? All right. Wentz Pro Bowl back in the day. I'd wear that last time he was ever good. There you go, to Chicago. Maybe I'll give that fucker away too. Shit, I got to stop cursing. Maybe I'll give that away too. All right, here we go. Let's pull his names back up. All right, here we go. Names are back in. 618. You got to be present for this one. Got to be present for this one. Confirm. Let's do one shuffle for the greatness of Jalen Hurts in honor of our Zander time today, where we talked a lot about Jalen Hurts. All right. Start. Here we go. Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. Thomas Farzetta! Yeah, I think he's here. I think Farzetta is here. Our boy, Thomas Farzetta. We just pull that might be the first time we've ever had somebody present on the first pull for must be present to win. Tell me he's here. I don't see him yet. Is he here? This is apparently Farzi's cousin, guys. It's apparently Farzi's cousin. He found the channel through obviously Farzi. It's not Mark. It's not Mark. It's not Mark. Is he out there? Is he out there? I thought I saw him in here today. Wasn't he in here today? I thought I saw him in here today. Farzi isn't. We don't. Sig Lord, I don't own that show. I don't pay Farzi for that show. That's Farzi's show. He airs on our channel. All right. That's wrong, Sig Lord. That's wrong. You're fake news. Fake news. I'm sending him smoke signals right now. All right, look, if he's not here, he gets 2 minutes. Where's Flex when we need? Oh, I want everybody to send up a prayer for our boy Flex right now, man. Flex reached out to me. He's not going to be in here at all this week. Everything's good with him. He's all good, but I talked to him a little bit off the air. So I'm thinking of you, Flex, if you're listening, brother. I'm thinking of you, Flex, if you're listening. All right. He's okay. He's okay, Wild Bear. He's all good. Just some family stuff. There he is. He's here. You guys are cooked. He is here. He is here. He is here. The great and legendary Thomas Farzetta. Thomas, it's time for you to email me, my friend. Zander at jakibsports.com. Thomas, shoot me an email. You won an Eagles jersey. All right. Right now, I have a XL and a 2X, but I'm getting more tomorrow. So just tell me whatever size you are. I'll get you the right one. All right. I'll get you the right size. So, Thomas, congrats on the W, my friend. Guys, I think that's legitimately the first time we ever had a must-be present to win, and they were present on the first pull. I think that's the first time that ever happened. Where's CZ? Where's CZ? I'm emailing you, CZ. He became a legend today, so he gets a free shirt. All right. I emailed you, CZ. All right. CZ gets a shirt. And now Thomas Farzetta. We're up to 11 winners already in 2025. 11 winners. Guys, we are gonna blow past 100 winners this year. I have 11 winners already right now. I am counting like the shirts I'm giving out. So, all right. I am counting the shirts I'm giving out. But we got James Carver, Brian Waddington, Master Eagle, Sue Chick, Tony and Dio, who I gave for being members on both my channels, Thomas Gruber, Mike Berghorst, 956 Eagles, CZ, and Thomas Farzetta. All right. Thomas says, I was in the shower and hopped out. Good shit, brother. All right. Good shit. Good shit. Thomas, just shoot. Did you get my email, Thomas? No, we got him. We got his comments. Do we receive a try? I mean, I can send it to you if you want to be that guy, but it's just a giveaway. I normally don't send tracking numbers. I'll just email you, hey, I shipped it. All right. 956 is that guy. I need my tracking number. All right. I need my tracking number. All right, Thomas. Zander at jakibsports.com. Sue, I sent out your shirts. I've responded to your email. I know some people have stuff that gets stolen. I know. I got you. I'll send your tracking 956. I packaged your shirt. Wait, did you email me? 956. Did you email me? Yeah. I got it right. I got it. You're in Texas, right? Yeah, you're Texas. I got you. All right, I got you. Thanks for doing the giveaways. You got it, dude. Sue, you should get your shirt pretty quick, honestly. And Sue, I think you're good. I think you missed out. I think you mentioned you have the gray shirt, Sue. So the ones I sent you, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, were black, and I think a heather gray, maybe. I forget, but they should be pretty cool, Sue. I think you'll like them. I tried to pick two good ones because you're such a great supporter. Okay. All right, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here today. I thought we had a good conversation on Zander time about the offense. I know some people think I'm maybe reacting too early, too fast, too quick. That's fine. All right, that's fine. I think we can let it lay a little bit, but I'm worried they're turning us into a shell of what we can be, and I don't want it to come back and bite us in the ass. So appreciate everybody. Act Beezy, what's up, brother? Abe, thank you, Abe. Appreciate you, dog. HKP, love you, brother. ZM, thanks everybody for being here today. Great show. 2 winners from the show today. All right, let me write down, what's the other guy's name again? Kevin Cameronis. I got a feeling, guys. I got a feeling. Now, don't tell anybody, but I got a feeling Kevin is not going to claim this jersey. He's got 24 hours. That's the rule. That's always been the rule. It'll always be the rule. You got 24 hours to answer my claim. If you cannot answer my claim, I'm giving the jersey to somebody else, and tomorrow we'll do a new poll. Okay? So we probably will do another giveaway tomorrow, but we'll see if Kevin Cameronis shows up out of the woodwork. I've never heard of the guy in my life. But look, we do have a lot of listeners, guys, who don't comment. I get emails from people or comments from people after, like, hey, Zander, I never comment on the live shows, but I listen every single day. So we got a lot of those people. All right? No, 24 hours from whenever he was pulled. So when was he pulled? Like 10:45? 11? Let's just do 11 a.m. Let's just do 11 a.m. But if he hasn't answered by 10 a.m., he's probably on the chopping block. All right. I'll adopt that jersey. Devin, thanks for your support, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Ryan, I saw something on that. Kirsten says, that used to be me. I used to watch and say nothing. For years, I just watched in silence. We have a lot of them, Kirsten. Hey, listen, no harm, no foul. Not everybody wants to get into the cesspool of the JAKIB chat, all right, which I understand. Okay, which I understand. But we do have a lot of great listeners, and I want to thank all them if they're listening right now as well. Anybody that supports this channel, I appreciate you, whether you're in the chat right now or you're not. All right, so thank you very much. Appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. The Tylenol PM was of no factor today, okay? I got over that shit. Never again. Never again. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.